1, 2, 3. Traumatized by the hit that you bestowed upon me. Endless bliss on tap, loathing misery. It sure did take its toll on me. Too long, I said, baby, get back.
All right, everybody, welcome to the
next episode
of the Everyday Joe Show. I'm your host, Lee Travis Reed. You might have heard of me before.
Probably not.
Probably not. Josh has heard me before. I paid him to say that.
Once or twice.
All right, tonight here, Studio 11. Small crowd tonight. Hey, Peanut Gallery, keep it down back there. We got the franchise, Josh Moore. How are you, sir?
Pleased to be here.
Pleased to be here. What are you drinking on there? A little Coke Zero?
Coke Zero.
That is
for my ketogenic diet.
That is the non-alcoholic drink of choice in Studio 11. You and the one Bradley Ramsey, they always got that Coke Zero. You can put it in the fridge if you need to, right behind you. There's room. There's beer.
Not a lot of numbers in here tonight, but we made up for it with star power.
That's right.
You damn right. Lady A, womaning the controls.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm dandy.
You are dandy. Hot ass.
Thanks.
What you drinking?
Oh, Michelob, because it's also keto.
In the aluminium can.
Yeah, keeps them colder.
It does keep them colder. You got to have aluminium.
Science alert.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, keeps them colder.
Yep.
Oh, you just drink them faster. It doesn't really matter. It's like I got that little Yeti thing. I don't use it very often because I don't
need it.
No, I drink fast. I'm thirsty. I have a fine Pilsner beer. It says so on the can.
Right there.
So it has to be a fine Pilsner beer.
This is America. You wouldn't falsely advertise.
That's exactly right. You wouldn't be. And, 20 years ago, me and Josh hung out all the time. I didn't drink this shit. I drank Bud Light.
That's true.
That shit is trash. It's nasty.
It was then as well.
You're right. You drank the Heineken back then.
Every once in a while, I still like a nice cold Heineken.
Everybody likes a nice Heineken every now and then.
That's right.
Once in a moon.
It's okay. I prefer the Rolling Rock from going that style. Does it have a similar taste? Tonight, inconspicuous by their absences, Eli is on the mend. He's not feeling well. I think the working out is getting to him.
Oh.
Well, maybe not. His chest thing's starting to hurt again. Tooth, I don't know. Tooth's on assignment. It's very important business. He'll be back soon enough, maybe. We love you, Tooth. First order of business. We got a shout out to Bubba Whitsett. Mm-hmm. So he sends me a video last night. He's at the White Sox game. And he sends me a video, and underneath it says, Giancarlo Grand Slam. So I'm like, what? I didn't know he was there. And so I hit play. Pictures on the mound, and he throws a fastball. Looked a little bit tad outside, and Giancarlo took that bad boy to right and cleared the fence, cleared the base.
So he's on the south side, but he's seen my beloved Yankees.
Yes. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Fucking Yankees. So then today he texts me, and he said, hey, man, I'm on my way to Lambeau. He's like, check me out. I'll be on the sidelines in some khakis and a Titans polo. All right, well, Bubba, you officially fucking suck.
Yeah.
I'm not a Titans or Green Bay fan, but he's at Lambeau fucking Field. That's like that and Soldier Field, the mirror hallowed grounds. And that's if you want to watch a football game, if you're going to be on the field, that's the two you need to be at.
And he's repping the Titans in a real tried and true football town.
Yeah,
so
that's
fair play to him.
Yeah, no shit. So I get a video of him riding down the road, residential neighborhood, and then pow, there's Lambeau Field. And I've always heard that it's in a residential neighborhood. And I've seen a few videos like on ESPN or Fox or whatever. But no shit, it's in a residential neighborhood. House, Lambeau. Like, are you kidding me? And it's just compared to what it was back when we were kids, this place is fucking huge, man. So I was like, oh, that's cool, Bubba. You suck. So then he takes a video of him. He says, hey, man, you being a Cardinals fan, he's like, I just got done talking to Dave McGinnis, the play-by-play guy or the color guy on Titans Radio Network. I was like, well, man, I love Dave McGinnis. He kind of got the Cardinal resurgence going a few years back. And so then he sends me a video of him standing next to Mike Keith and Dave McGinnis as they talked about the food they ordered. So I'm just like, really? I mean, are you fucking serious right now? Then I get a video of him walking on the Lambeau Field. Then I get a video of him standing on Lambeau Field. Then I get a video of the Titans and the Packers warming up on Lambeau Field. So, Bubba, kiss my ass, buddy. And then he got Coach McGinnis to get him fucking Cubs tickets for tomorrow. 5 minutes. He made a call. Hey, you got 4 tickets for tomorrow's game? Okay, can you give me some? Call me back. 5 minutes later, they call back. All right, there, we'll call under your name.
Wow.
That.
Baller status.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pimp shit right there.
Hey, what I say earlier, networking. Get things done.
I can't even do that at the high school game. I can't even get the job as the PA announcer at the high school game. I tried out for that, by the way.
So shoot.
Huh? Yeah. Yep. I lost. I didn't win. I didn't get it. And I got replaced at Tennessee All Pro Wrestling being an announcer. I was just a fill-in anyway. I wasn't permanent. I did good, though, I think.
Yes, you did do good.
Thank you.
You were fantastic. You were trabulous.
I did. I was trabulous.
I don't think that you want to be in a position to where you are necessarily going to handcuff your abilities. I think maybe calling high school football.
That's a good way to put that.
It's like a comic that I think you should probably, in the comedy world, and people I know that work in that world, the whole thing is like try and write clean because you're naturally going to curse.
That's hard.
But if you write the curses into your material, then 2 fucks become 6.
Oh, yeah.
And that can hurt you in some rooms, especially when you're trying to establish yourself. So, what we were talking about earlier, working live without a net, probably something better will open up for you in terms of because I'm not super huge on handing out compliments, but
well, then don't.
I think you've done tremendously well with the Everyday Joe show.
Appreciate that.
You've progressed as a host.
Oh yeah. I was scared to death when I first started, but now I'm like, I get mad when I don't do one because I want to hear me talk. People need to hear me talk.
It's a public.
It's the same thing as muscle memory with other things. It's just reps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a public.
You got to get a couple of shows in the can every week, especially when you're starting, just to get the reps in, just to figure out what kind of show that you have. Yeah, and find that voice.
It got when I was doing the shows at 41, because we had the first night. I mean, there was like one table left. I mean, we almost sold that bad boy out. And then the second week was pretty close to the same, and that helped me, with the live thing. I'm like, that's no big deal. But when I was doing the tryout for the football thing, there were like 5 people listening plus 5 other contestants, and I got a little queasy.
But what helps you more is if there's 2 tables with people in it in the place.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
and you've still got to go in there and perform.
Well, that was our last show at 41. Yeah, there was literally.
Did it just die on the vine, or
it was Bonnery Week? That hurt.
Yeah.
I think that there's been 12 owners at 41 since the last time I was there.
Yeah, that's actually.
So I guess that was more of my question if they were even in business.
Yeah, they got I think they're almost done with the floors.
Golly.
Yeah, so the floors were a mess, and I love that place, man. Love that place. This neighborhood, because we don't have a neighborhood bar, here.
No.
And we need one.
Yeah, we really do. And that place, for like me and Eli works right across the road at Al White. I work right down the road where I work, And it's just a great meeting place for me and Eli. Just to, hey, man, let's grab a beer after work. Cool. Boom, we go there, get an appetizer, drink 4 or 5 beers, go to the house. It's perfect, you know.
We ran a music tree there the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of our destinations. And the ownership at that time was very accommodating.
Yeah, ours, they took care of it. The new ones took really good care of us.
Okay.
It was
And
nice.
you could tell with a few aesthetic changes that you could have a good performance area.
Yeah, I liked it. They treated us awesome. We had a good crowd. The last one, it was like it was Greg Jones, Sam, her husband Joe, her dad, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that's good. Builds character.
Yeah. Well, we did what we did.
It built Greg's character phenomenally because he didn't stop talking.
Yeah.
From across the bar.
Yeah. It was
And you could hear him.
But we still drank our beer and still did our stick and did everything. It's as far as like the recorded version, it sounded like normal, you know, like we would have been in here. So it wasn't bad. It was fun. But hopefully they asked me the other day if I still want to do it there. Yeah, I'll do it once, twice a month, maybe not every week, because I think it kind of
you can oversaturate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard for everybody to come out and you know spend $40 once a week at a bar. I mean, that was hard for us when we did that. One, like, God, I can't do this every week because that's $50. That's real money. But
that's an entire separate rant for me.
Mm-hmm.
You always hear, particularly this time of year, you know, what businesses people want to see come to town.
Yeah.
Well, you have to have a job market.
Yeah.
That
People
brings
make
in,
money.
And I say that as someone who twice has been on the precipice of having a movie-going experience in town.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Fell apart every time from the top down. So
And it will every time.
You know.
From the top down in this damn town. All right. Football season is upon us. Preseason really kicked off, I guess, last weekend with the Hall of Fame game. You're excited, aren't you?
I'm so excited. No, yeah.
Well, you got Netflix set up in the bedroom. So
I'm
you're
waiting on college. That's my jam.
good. Yeah. She graduated UT, so she's a UT fan.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, I saw that.
Oh, Gator fan, right?
Go Gators.
Oh.
Well, there is a gentleman on the way here right now named Tony Gerald, is a gay tour fan as well. And he's been a Gator fan. I've known this kid since we were in second grade, and as long as I can remember us paying attention to sports, he's been a Gator fan. But he was also a Boomer Esiason fan when he was a kid, too, so I'm questioning.
Gerald, we may be related
He might be.
somewhere. Who knows?
I got to read Steve Jernigan's post because he's watching. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Now that I'm not a political candidate, I would like to offer a guest appearance in the coming weeks. If you have time, of course. If you run out, I'd understand. Hashtag name and life. Come on, Steve.
Oh, yeah, anytime, Steve.
It'll be a really good time to wrap it up once you get here.
I've invited that man 100 times. And every time he gets here, we're ending the show.
Yeah.
Every time.
Just not enough time for Steve.
He's working. He's selling that ground.
Running up
Gotta
hills
hustle.
and stuff.
He's a hustling son of a bitch, though, man. I give him that.
He's a beast.
He is. So football season. She's excited for college. Last year, I guess, was our first official dating during college football, and
Yeah.
she's a trooper when it comes to watching the
I
She
don't
likes-
I don't like professional, but college, yeah.
professional. That's my favorite. I love professional.
It's just more interesting in college because not everyone's perfect. It's just like NBA. I don't like NBA basketball because, like, oh, yay, the score is 4,000 to 4,001. That's so exciting. No one has fucked up this whole game. Yay.
Yeah, nobody's played defense the whole game.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't back like it was in the 90s. But hey, Josh, who tell all the 10 listeners who's your favorite team?
We'll
NFL.
have 20 this week
I hope so.
because the franchise is in the
The
house.
franchises.
I haven't done a local show in a long time, and I wouldn't have for anyone else but you because we're going to talk about some cool stuff.
Thank you, sir. Yes,
But
we are.
football, I'm a fan of the New York Football Giants.
Why are you a fan of the New York Football Giants?
The same reason that I'm a fan of the New York Yankees, and the same reason I'm a fan of the Los Angeles Lakers. And
LeBron?
This is a theme that will play out throughout tonight. Number one, those are major cities.
True.
If you root for a team, and you know, if we're being truthful, when we were coming up, you didn't have big NBA TV deals.
Right.
You had the Lakers on NBC, and you had the Yankees on Saturday afternoon baseball, unless you like the Braves or something like that. And so those were the teams I saw, and I was drawn to them. But in a more pragmatic sense, teams in bigger markets are forced to compete.
Yeah, they have to. They get their.
You have to. You can't be the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
In New York City or in Los Angeles,
right.
That's a good
or in
point.
Dallas.
The bar is set really high.
And from a theatrical aspect, it's more fun and more challenging to root for the heel.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm going to take there ain't no bigger heel in Major League Baseball than New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Right.
Has been for...
You don't like the Cowboys?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, just checking.
No. But they would fall under that category.
Yeah, I know.
Certainly
I would agree. In the past 20 years, they definitely are one of the biggest heels.
Of being a working heel. But the way I've always looked at it is, you know, it's so easy to be, you're talking about Green Bay, it's easy to be a Packer fan. Or a Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt fans I love.
Yeah, love will lose.
Because, exactly, there is no pressure to win.
Mm-hmm.
There's no incentive to win. If you beat Florida, if Vanderbilt beats Florida, you can talk smack to me all day long. But if I beat you, I'm supposed to beat you.
Yeah.
True.
There's no hanging yourself out there.
Right.
You know, I'm the guy that'll go on social media and cut a promo when we acquire Giancarlo Stanton about mergers and acquisitions. That's how we get things done. Another day on Wall Street and get people hot. It's just fun.
Giancarlo Stanton's,
you know,
as Donnie Baker would say.
At my age, I need ancillary entertainment with my sports. I'm not super into it like I might have been in my youth, but I want to support teams where there is a pressure to perform, to be good.
Yeah, I've asked many a folk, not on the show, in person, why do you like the Yankees? Why do you like, you know, the Cowboys? I've never heard that answer. Never, not once.
No.
You know, it was because of Jeter, which is fine because Jeter, I'm the number one Jeter hater on earth because him and Chipper Jones came up around the same time, and although Chipper's offensive numbers, except for maybe the hits, were a little, you know, maybe the average were a little bit better. So I had them in comparison, and Jeter's rings compared to Chipper's. Definitely Jeter wins that one. So I was a big Jeter hater, but God damn it, boy, it was good.
Well, you know,
real good.
And granted, I'm more of a fan of combat sports and individual sports where one guy against another guy or one girl against another girl, and they're going to put their skills to the test, and the best is going to walk out. And they're going to walk out with the gold and the glory. I mean, there's a reason that if you look in the Forbes top 5 athletes, 2 of them are European footballers,
yeah.
which as a team sport is probably my favorite. It's soccer. And the other 2 are professional fighters, Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Because you have to go out there and set the table. Tell a story.
Fun to watch.
He is fun. I agree.
Even
he is
when
very
he's not
fun
wrestling,
to watch.
like his damn Burger King commercial is entertaining as hell.
He
gets it.
Yes,
this is entertainment. At the end of the day, their success is predicated on you shelling out $45.99 to enjoy their product.
Right.
There is no TV deal. TV deals are great in some respects, and they're negative in some respects. We're going to talk about that with some big TV deals in wrestling later. But my whole thing has always been people like to be with team sports very righteous and just, the wag the moral finger of indignation. The facts are this. I love baseball. You love baseball. Steroids saved the game.
They did. They definitely did. Well, you say steroids saved the game. You still had Greg Maddux throwing the 76-pitch, one-hit shutout.
Right. Because that's
Tony Gerald.
That's a talent level that
there'll never be.
Yeah.
That
level of control. You just don't see those things anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Gerald.
Hi.
Tony Gerald, Josh Moore.
You're not white.
Florida Gator fan. Florida Gator fan.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yep. All right, show's ending.
Yep, bye.
Oh.
Yeah, that's an interesting answer. Like I said, I always thought, people like, because me, I when I was a kid, and they traded away Dale Murphy, the Braves did. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? We got Oda B. McDowell, Andres Thomas, and fucking Gerald Perry. But we got well, there's this guy named Dave Justice. I was okay. Dave Justice is the man.
Yeah.
So then Chipper comes up and Ryan Kleska. I'm like, okay, I'm all in the Braves. I'm still butthurt that Dale went and played in Philly for a year or so, and then played in Colorado. I'm like, this is not right. So I tied myself to the Braves because of Dale Murphy and because it was on TBS and you can watch them every damn night, except for like Thursdays,
right?
Which was wonderful,
And that's why you have a lot of Cubs fans.
Yeah, and Cardinals fans and even Yankee fans going back a little older than those guys, because on the AM station, that's what you could hear. Here in this town in Tullahoma and northern Alabama, northern Georgia, before Atlanta got the Braves and still in Milwaukee, you heard the AM station out of Chicago, out of St. Louis, and out of New York. So that's why, like Bo Henley worked with at Coke, huge Cardinals fan. And I asked him why one day. That was the reason. He's like, well, he said, hell, I could, Stan Musial was, he was the man in the day. He's like, and I can listen to him every night on the AM station out of St. Louis.
Oh, absolutely.
He tied himself to that, as a player to a team. And that's what I did with Chipper and with Dale Murphy. And now I'm kind of like, well, we got, Ozzie and we got, Freeman and Acuna, like, Dansby Swanson. I'm like, well, they don't have. To me, Freeman's got star power, but he don't have the star power of Chipper. He don't have the star power of Justice or of Dale, or even Max or Glavine or Smoltz. But he's still got a little bit of that star power, so I'm still clinging to him.
Well, but you're bringing up something that is fascinating to me, and I don't think it gets talked about nearly enough. You can have, like, for instance, I like the Lakers for a myriad of reasons, other than what I mentioned earlier. But part of it was not just that they were the team on TV and that they were winning, but they were Showtime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a gimmick. That's an era.
Yeah.
It's defined by something other than just sport.
Yeah, it's a
and you've had other great teams.
It's a spectacle.
And other great eras within the franchise, but it's not Showtime.
Yeah, it's a spectacle. Is what Showtime is. It has been since Kareem and Magic were there. Michael Thompson and I was going to say Kurt Rambis, but not really.
I hate the Atlanta Braves, but it has nothing to do with sports.
Right.
It's because as a child in the summertime, all I wanted at 6:05 was the Four Horsemen.
Right.
And many a day, many a Saturday, my 2 hours of tranquility was besmirched by being interrupted by Atlanta Braves games. And these were not the Braves of Ron Gant and Terry Pendleton, and these were the Braves of baby blue uniforms and, like you said, Ken Oberkfell. These were horrible.
Bob Horner, Glenn Hubbard.
Horrible baseball teams.
Yeah, Oda B. McDowell.
And, for the Nature Boy to have to take a back seat to Ken Oberkfell, I thought was a fucking outrage.
Woo! And it should have been.
It's an outrage today. I'm a little mad right now just thinking about it.
He was kind of pissed.
And so,
God damn, he's going to walk out
that really they had heat with me because of that, and maybe still do. Obviously today I don't much care, but you know, it didn't have anything to do with, well, everybody here likes them, so I'm going to be different. It was they interrupted my wrestling.
It definitely did interrupt wrestling. And I was...
And a 6-year-old JJM, that was a lot more important than baseball.
Well, yeah, I can understand that.
That 39-year-old JJM is a lot more important than baseball.
Well, you know, but... So, baseball, who's your team in baseball? The Yankees.
Yes.
And we've covered why, so we don't have to... I'm just reading off my questions.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say Giancarlo Stanton's or
I-
Aaron Judge's.
I jumped the gun a little bit.
No, it's fine. You didn't read my notes, so it's fine. It's not your fault, it's mine. Lakers, I'm a Lakers fan now.
Now.
For a myriad of reasons.
We've been back in the early 90s now. Come on.
I'll go ahead and list my myriad of reasons for liking the Lakers. LeBron James.
Yep. I knew that.
Enough reasons.
Yes, thank you. Well, when I was a kid, I was a little different. We'll get to that part on another
You
show.
were way different.
Oh, thanks, Tony.
We don't have time for
Tony,
that.
you like Boomer Esiason. Don't give me shit.
Woo, Boomer.
Yeah, see what I tell you.
I think we covered the Bengals
Yeah.
a few minutes
Great
ago.
team. I missed on it.
I was my favorite player was Dominique Wilkins, and of course now Jordan. I love Jordan. I hold Jordan in the highest regard of basketball players. Him, Oscar Robertson, those are my to me.
Pippen. Don't forget Pippen.
Well, Pippen was a great player in his own right. There's no doubt. But Dominique was, if there was no Jordan, Dominique would have been Jordan because Dominique finished second. I've said it a million times on the show. Dominique finished second in scoring to Jordan almost every damn year. But I like Dominique because Dominique would score more than Bird. I mean, Bird was great, but
He was great on 3-point.
Bird had a better surrounding cast than Jordan in that era than Jordan or Dominique did. So, I mean, I hold Jordan up here. Dominique was my favorite. But here, since LeBron or Jordan retired and LeBron came in, aside from Allen Iverson, not been that dominant. There's been a couple that have been dominant for a few years, but not that dominant player of an era. Now the other guys are catching up. Steph Curry, with Westbrook, those guys are catching up with LeBron, in my opinion. But I'm a Ron fan till he retires. I like how he plays. He's 6'9", and like size wise, you can compare him to Pippen. He's a little bit more muscular than Pippen was, but he handles the rock better than Pippen. He shoots better than Scotty. So
He's got the attitude better than Pippen.
Yeah, well, but I'm a LeBron guy, so I'm a Laker guy, and that's I was a Cleveland fan. Bless you, darling.
Thank you. There's 6 more.
Okay, got 6 more sneezes.
Maybe not.
I was a Cleveland, now a Laker fan. Now, everybody giving LeBron shit. I don't blame LeBron a bit.
Oh, I don't either.
Man, if free agency was like it was back in the day, and Jerry Reinsdorf and Krause didn't open that checkbook and give Michael $25 million for his last 2 years, hey, Michael might have went somewhere else. We don't know.
Michael made during his playing days, overwhelmingly the majority of his earnings came from endorsements, so that they could keep a supporting cast around him. And of course,
decent, not a great.
Like
but
you
a
said
decent.
at the end there, he started having a couple of $32 million seasons, and that was just deferred compensation, really. But my only real gripe with LeBron since he's been in the league has been he had won a title, but he hadn't put a team on his back like the Jordans, like the Kobes. This do what you want to do, obviously, especially if you can make it work. But like the dream team things, I'm not super big on. If you do it through trade, I'm fine with that. Certainly, Lakers and Yankees both have been very successful at that over the decades. But adding a piece like Paul Gasol is wonderful, as opposed to 4 guys saying, "Okay, we're going to play cut rate to just try to win a ring." I'm not huge on that.
Yeah, it's like Vince Carter said the other day. He's like, Vince Carter's 41 years old and still, balling like crazy, playing at a decent level. And they asked him, "Hey man, why didn't you quote ring chase?" And he's like, "That's not me. I play for the love of the game."
He came up in an era where you were supposed to be the man.
Mm-hmm.
And you were supposed to, if you were the first round draft pick, you were supposed to carry that team.
Yeah.
That was the era.
And I never really, because some of these guys, like when the Lakers got, Karl Malone and Gary Payton, and that just blew up. It didn't do that well.
Right.
I was like, man, that's, that good for them. I hope they get a ring. I wish, in different circumstances, I wish Karl Malone would have gotten a ring in Utah. I wish Barkley would have got a ring in Philly. I wish Gary Payton would have got one in Seattle. And I was like, well, good for them. But then I hear Vince say it the other day. I'm like, man, I never heard that answer.
But,
that's
even as a Laker guy, the whole Malone-Payton thing, it just wasn't authentic.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
But LeBron went back to Cleveland. He brought a championship to that city. He did everything he said he was going to do. And you have a situation there where, A, ownership doesn't like him. They don't like being overshadowed by the owner doesn't like to be overshadowed by the player. And 2, LeBron is at a stage now where he's writing the next few chapters of the LeBron brand. And where better to do that than in the second largest media market in the country.
What else was I going to say? Get out of my head.
And basketball, regardless of where you put it in your personal list of preferences, is one of the few American sports that is a truly global sport.
It is now, for damn sure.
Soccer and basketball are the global sports.
Yeah, soccer, unbelievable with the soccer shit.
Who's
your favorite NBA team?
The Bulls.
The Bulls. Because of Saturday Night Live, huh?
Yeah. No, that's the Bears.
Oh, the Bears.
But
Saturday Night Live aficionado right here.
Yeah, they did do one skit with the Bulls, but yeah, I guess just because of Jordan. I mean, I had the jersey, and I even had Jordans. I played basketball in them. They didn't make me any better. I still fucking sucked. But, yeah.
You looked good doing it.
That's all I
you
care
looked
about.
fresh. And that's all
Speaking of
matters.
Jordan, I was up on watching TV the other night, and Space Jams came on.
I love that.
Me and my daughter watched it the other day, and she is in love with Space Jam.
Awesome movie.
In love with Space Jam. And you know what she wants for Christmas? Jordan 6s, just like the ones I got.
Oh, well, yours are Space Jammy colors too.
Yeah, kind of.
We were talking about
all of the colors are
sales and e-commerce before we started the show. What a market retro basketball sneakers has become.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I haven't owned a pair of basketball sneakers in 20 years.
I remember the last pair you owned too.
But the last
nope. Get the Pippins.
This is 2018. The 2014 World Cup, they put out. They probably were the last pair.
They were. I remember.
But they did a set of Jordans around the World Cup in Rio de Janeiro.
Fuck.
And they were art.
Oh,
and they were also $500.
Yeah, well, I found a site called Po Retro from China. You can get Jordan for $42.
Emphasis on the Po.
Legit?
Po. Yeah, emphasis on the Po. Emphasis on the Po, Tony. Emphasis on the Po.
A 3-year-old lost an index finger to give you those knockoff Jordans.
Which that same 3-year-old made the real ones too.
This is also true.
An apple without the stick out of the top.
What about the pumps though, man?
The pumps. I ordered a pair of pumps from some shady outfit in France. But the original was the '89s. Dominique Wilkins wore them. They had the pump on the front and the release on the back. It was the only year they made them like that.
Oh.
Well, everybody had the white ones, and you rarely saw black ones. These aren't the D Browns. These are the year before that. These were a little bit higher as far as the high top goes. So I ordered a set, and this is what they sent me.
Do those look like pumps?
Reebok Classics, I love them.
Those look like pups.
Yeah, they're great. It's the Reebok Classic high top black. I love them, but they are not the black pumps that I ordered. And I can't get a hold of them. So I rock them. That's my podcast shoes. I love them, but
yeah, I don't follow this super closely, but I read where the top 2 draft picks in this past NBA draft signed shoe deals with Puma.
Really?
Oh, I love
for big
Puma.
money.
Yeah, I mean, some Puma.
Yes.
So
I
they're
have
trying to
several
make a big return to the basketball landscape.
My softball cleats are Puma.
Which, again, goes back to the global nature of the game.
Yep. Which, mine were actually the Johnny Damon Pumas that I have. I still have them. Bought for $10 off eBay.
Of course, they're not.
Opal, white, pearl white, ballerina slipper Pumas.
Still got them?
Yeah, they're in the
Was
closet.
it Walt Frazier that had a Puma
Mhm.
back in the day?
Yep. Clyde Walt Frazier.
You ain't Callaway's golf shoes?
No.
No, I do.
The only thing I need for golf is this.
Got you.
Did you know Jordan, Adidas, Jordan wanted to sign with Adidas out of college, but they turned him down
Oh, that's
because
funny.
he wasn't tall enough.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Fuck their world up, and that's the moment they realize they fucked up.
Wow.
Yeah, I asked.
They haven't made a good endorsement since Run DMC.
No, they really haven't. Well, the Iversons were all right. That was
Was
one
he
that
an Adidas guy?
Yeah, no, he's a Reebok.
I don't
guy.
even remember.
He's a Reebok guy. Good man, Tony Gerald.
Yeah, beer man.
Try.
I ask you that question because normally she picks teams on. She's like for college football, she's Tennessee, and that's it.
I have to be.
Well, yeah, you paid them a lot of money to go to school.
Well, someone did. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah,
You know Saban's going to Ohio State?
is it really?
No, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
that going around.
We talked about it last week, and I got nothing out of those guys.
That is, and of course, I have an interesting history with Urban Meyer, but that's a phenomenally ugly story.
Oh, yeah, bad, very bad, and I hate it for college football. And
There is no, first of all, if you sit on the phone for 4 hours to talk to, what's his name, Feinbaum, reevaluate your life.
Yeah.
But no wins and losses are worth covering up domestic violence.
Yeah.
It's just a phenomenally ugly story. Because this goes back to Florida. This guy coached in Florida.
Oh, yeah,
So
for sure.
that upsets me. We've had our share of problems for sure, but
Not this year.
Urban,
Oh, yeah.
from a
Kindreds.
from the standpoint of the character of the team, and I'm not, a fuddy-duddy on that kind of stuff by any means. Particularly college-age kids, they're going to do stupid things.
But that's not what we're talking about.
But we're talking about a coach,
Yeah.
someone that's supposed to be a leader of young men.
And that's what he
And this was a long, sordid affair. We're talking like 10 years of domestic abuse where you've got the wife of the head coach who's also a registered nurse. She has I don't know where nurses fall within the Hippocratic Oath, but there's a certain fiduciary duty that she has
Yeah.
to speak on this woman's behalf, and she didn't do it. It's a phenomenally ugly, ugly story.
Yeah.
I hate it for college football because to me, and I hate saying it like this, but pro football is where that shit happens. You know what I mean? The college football is more of a
Pac-Man Jones, baby.
it's more celebrated for its what word?
Well, I mean, look,
For its innocence,
as
far as that's concerned.
we're almost at a point, and I don't want to,
Very fucked up about this right now.
get off into another hot topic, but we're in a trend right now where people are having discretions from 10, 15 years ago
Air it
held
out.
against them,
Oh, yeah.
and things that certainly aren't as serious as domestic violence. And so I think it's silly to act like people don't grow
I can agree with
over
that.
time.
I agree with
But by
doesn't
that,
excuse what they did.
But by that same well, I'm talking about more like inappropriate comments. The kid from Alabama that plays linebacker for the Niners was accused of domestic assault, perhaps sexual assault. I don't remember.
Reuben Foster.
It turned out to be a complete work.
Yep.
And he was drugged through the Bay Area media. Never an apology for that kid. Obviously we've got the Greg Hardys of the world and the Ray Rices of the world that we know have done horrific things. Ray Rice has never played it down since, and he shouldn't.
He knocked her the fuck out.
But this is still a league that I have a problem taking seriously because they want to throw Josh Gordon to the wolves over marijuana. But Ray Rice initially had, I think, a 2-game suspension.
Yeah, until people bitched about it.
Well, until a tape came out where he threw the Francis Ngannou-like uppercut.
Did you ever see that? No. You didn't went to the show. You need to YouTube it. Ray Rice and his girlfriend, or fiance, I guess it was at the time, and they're married now. Apparently happy. I mean, she fucking better be. I mean, she get the shit knocked out of her.
She doesn't remember it.
They get. How can she?
That's what I'm saying.
They got on the elevator.
How can she remember that night?
He throws the fastest punch.
Oh, I do. I have seen that.
Mollywop.
It was so quick. It was like, I mean, and I hate saying it was almost like a Tyson punch. It was that fast, and bam, she hits the ground. Like,
yeah, I do remember that.
That's
that was
bullshit
terrible.
right there. You do that at my job, where I work in my company, you're fired.
This all goes back to OJ, man.
Yep. OJ. Hey, easy. My daughter is a huge OJ fan.
Oh.
So while we, there are the Reuben Foster stories.
Yeah.
So I always want to see proof.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's proof, and when you're using the cloak of the institution to cover this up, no different than Joe Paterno.
Jello.
What is your legacy worth?
Yeah. And, just like we were talking last week.
I want to be remembered as a gentleman.
Yeah.
Not as, the all-time winningest football. I mean, think about it. Joe Paterno threw away his life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Poor Joe Pa.
And
no poor Joe Pa, a piece of shit.
And, as I was saying,
protected a pedophile.
To me, it like if Urban Meyer knew about this, this is pure speculation. On it seems he did know about it. If he did know about it and he did not turn him in or tell somebody, everybody's like, well, it's not his place. He's not a snitch. Blah blah. Well, this is a different scenario because he is Urban Meyer. He's coach of The Ohio State University. He needs to realize who he is, what his job is, where his job ranks as far as, if you don't call sports, entertainment, where that goes, how many people look up to him, how many high school kids look up to Urban Meyer. He needs to realize he needs to be held above reproach. If he knew about it, he should have said something then.
Well, and again, Travis, the special circumstance here is that Urban Meyer's wife is a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
The wife of this assistant coach reached out to her first. Mm-hmm. And she is a representative of the university as well. She has an official capacity. So at what point is, like I said, I can't quote the Hippocratic Oath or where it relates to nurses as opposed to physicians.
HIPAA laws, man.
But
HIPAA laws.
you have you have a moral obligation, but you certainly almost have a fiduciary obligation within the course of your training as a nurse, as someone in the medical field, as someone who's supposed to help care for people who are in dire straits.
Yeah.
And so the cover-up of this, that's why it's so phenomenally ugly, is to see the wife of this guy be so conditioned to that subordination that it immediately goes into cover-up mode. Do I think Joe Paterno actively sat around and thought, my God, I'm harboring a pedophile? No, I don't think he thought about it in those terms. I think he didn't want to think about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably
And
right.
that's why they ushered Sandusky out, abruptly because if you'll remember back, he had been named the coach in waiting way back then. So to bring that story full circle, if Ohio State decides, and keep in mind they fired Jim Tressel for much less.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
If they decide that they're going to part ways with Urban Meyer, then, who becomes OSU's head coach?
Saban.
No.
Greg Schiano?
Greg Schiano.
Who Tennessee fans made them rescind the offer.
Based on lies. That was my issue with that.
Well, I rescinded the offer because it's Greg fucking Schiano.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't think you
I rescinded because of John.
insinuate that a man might have covered up pedophilia when there's zero evidence of that simply because you don't want him to coach your football team.
I personally rescinded the offer for.
That's the loss of perspective that people lose. These are college kids playing a kid's game.
Yeah.
Quit trying to live vicariously through kids you don't know, through
Yeah.
your own kids.
Yeah.
Grow up and enjoy the game.
I personally
Like I said,
rescinded the offer
That's
because
older.
of John fucking Gruden. That's why I rescinded the offer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it was
I
happening.
don't know. You were trying to work
Still
the
happening.
world with that. We haven't really discussed that.
Oh,
I don't know what. I don't know what
Bubba, it was
the
happening.
gold at the end of your
Yes.
rainbow was on that. I didn't know. I kept thinking. I told my brother, I was like, he's got to have a gimmick worked out to get his ass out of this because he's tripled down.
I didn't have
On-
shit. I told her, I said, man, if this don't happen, I look like a fucking idiot.
Why would it happen?
Well, I look like a fucking-
Let me answer me this. We have a UT grad and a UT fan, and it's not just UT, but they're a really good case study for this. What is it in the mindset that makes you think that University of Tennessee football has the prestige or the stroke, especially in the modern era where you don't really have to be in a power conference anymore
Because I drink
to play for a national title,
I'll get
to make
Schiano
big
up.
money. The TV deals have really leveled that playing field a great deal. To think that you would be doing John Gruden the honor
Yeah.
of offering him your head coaching job.
Blind fucking hope. That's
Look at where he
it.
gets to
That's
live,
all
Knoxville.
Tennessee fans have anymore is blind fucking hope.
That's not what happened here.
Mine, it started out. I went on the fire. I was on the fire butch about 2 years in.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay,
it's
but
enough.
in deference to you, the Gruden thing came up every time you had an opening.
Fuck yeah, it did. Every time I see a new meme,
What-
fuck
I mean,
yeah, save it, share it. Shit.
I love
Yeah.
John Gruden, but the man hasn't coached football in over a decade.
no.
Why?
He knows football.
And he didn't coach collegiately
No.
But as an intern.
in a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah, when he should have
So
played.
what's the appeal other than just his name?
Look at Schneider at K-State.
Can he
ain't coached
recruit?
in years.
Snyder got a extension today.
K-State?
He's 412 years old. They gave
He got an extension.
They gave him an extension today.
Craig-
I actually
My-
saw that
Till he
on the
dies.
news.
My buddy Craig's ex-brother-in-law dated his daughter.
He's going to win 6 games this year. Schneider.
The Gruden thing, it was happenstance, if you will. If you will, Tony Stefani. I texted one of my buddies. I said, "Hey man, this coaching shit. First of all, it started with the goddamn. Are they going to fire fucking Butch Jones or what? Because I mean,
That
every night
God.
I was on Reddit
But
just
if you had
firing
told
off.
me, and I've got ties to the University of Florida, I can get information pretty direct.
We don't care about Florida. No, I'm
Yeah,
joking.
we
Well,
do.
but I'm just using this as an example. If you would have told me,
You're welcome.
hey, I heard that they're talking to John Gruden, I'd have rolled my eyes.
Yeah.
And we have a heck of a lot better,
Weather?
trophy case than the University of Tennessee.
Wait a minute. Tennessee's got 4 national championships.
Weather.
How many do y'all have?
3.
Yeah, but how many of those came after integration?
Less than Alabama's.
Alabama's championships are bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of theirs are faulty too.
Yeah, they are.
But it started with the man. God bless them. They're going to please unfire Bush Jones. Please unfire Bush Jones. And then it turned like, hey man, he's getting fired tomorrow. We're at the Titans game, and I get a message from my friend. Hey man, they just fired Bush Jones. I'm like, okay. And then boom, Twitter starts going off. Oh, they just fired Bush Jones. I'm showing her. She's like, oh my God, you knew. So the guy that told me that
seems credible.
That's pretty damn credible. He breaks it a few hours before it gets broke on Twitter. Because if you want to know shit, get on Twitter. Because that's I'm not kidding. That's where it happens. Twitter, it's almost instant getting world news, sports news, movie news.
In my business, I've been asked several times, where do you see the intrinsic value of Twitter? And I use it for two primary reasons. Number one, I've kind of created my own global newspaper. Everyone I respect who does hard-hitting investigative journalism, the real deal, I've got all their stuff, which is very cool. But also, real-time search engine, what you're saying.
Yeah, it's good.
It's the premier. If you want to search for something in real time as it's happening, it's Twitter.
And the Facebook is fine for that. It's good. Twitter's just that much faster. So we get to talking, and he's like, hey, man, who would you like to see as coach? And, of course, I've heard the Gruden rumors in years past before they hired Dooley and before they hired Lane, and I never bought into that. I never, there's no fucking way. He just started the Monday night gig. It's not happening. And I was like, man, jokingly, I put John Gruden LOL. And he said, I wouldn't. He said, don't, as Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. He said, don't LOL that. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. He's, I'm dead serious. I'm like, there's no way. He's like, I'm telling you, Gruden is the front runner. I'm like, holy shit, So I keep it quiet. I think I told her, probably like on the way home from the Titans game. And
I'm like, who?
Yeah.
I mean, for real.
Gruden?
I now know everything about him.
Yeah.
But.
What size shoe he wears?
So,
he can tell you.
It went on, and I'm like, okay, this person, and then Shiano come up, and it was purely on Shiano being a fucking turd. Just a complete turd for Tampa. He did okay at Rutgers. It's Rutgers. It's Big East. They're not
powerful.
Big East's not a powerful football conference, predominantly, not anymore. No. I guess since Miami left, they're definitely not at all. But I was like, no, fuck Greg Schiano. Then, fuck the Jeff Braun. That's bullshit. And then, whoever they had, I'm like, so I got on the Gruden train, just as, tongue-in-cheek at first. And then the dude kept texting, like, I'm telling you, man, it's happening. It's going to happen. I was like, there's no way. And then I started reading on Reddit, because Reddit's actually a pretty good site for shit. You get a lot of false stuff, but you get in with the right people, you'll get in with some correct things. And so then I talked to a former Vols player, and it was Gruden. John Curry totally fucked it up. Gruden wanted a week. He said, give me a week. Let me assemble a skeleton staff. Let me get my OC, my DC, maybe a special teams. Let me get this. We can announce it next Monday. He said, nope, I got to announce it tomorrow. He said, no, you have to give me a week to get these guys on board. He said, let me get these guys on board. Let's announce it next Monday. Nope, I got to announce it because Curry's ass was on the line. And Curry come back without a signed contract because there were motherfuckers tracking flights from what's the Haslam, the Flying J or whatever.
Yeah.
Curry was using their plane. And he come back without a contract, and that's pretty much ultimately what got him fired. Because Gruden said, give me a week. Curry's like, no. Curry couldn't deliver. He couldn't sell it. He couldn't sell himself.
I'd at least gave him a week.
I don't think Curry thought he had a week. So I think that's what happened.
But I couldn't understand, in the aftermath of that, you've offered the job to Mike Leach. And the
goddamn that'd been
school doesn't endorse that.
Yeah.
He's won everywhere he's been.
Yeah.
And he runs a clean program. And again, who do you think is walking through that door? That's my question.
And
the Tennessee fans. Who do you think is walking through that door?
The character that Mike Leach would have brought, his persona, fucking hilarious. Like, it's not normal, but it's...
After that shit show, you should have been doing backflips to have a coach with that caliber interested in your program.
Yeah, and I'm cool with Pruitt.
Because, well,
I'm fine with
and
that.
he may do very well, but I'm saying this from experience. I've been through it with Will Muschamp and some more. The SEC is not the place where you want to learn on the job as a head coach.
No. I think what Gruden would have done, that's why me and my dad, we got in several discussions that, Gruden don't want a college game. He don't have to. He's never recruited. He don't have to. He says, what do you mean you don't have? He don't have to. I said, you look on that right hand, left hand, whatever hand he wears on, that big fat ring, that does all his recruiting. He can sit that thing on the fucking desk.
I think at a time it would have. I'm not sure in
like,
this day and age that's the case.
That name means a lot. That big fat ring means a lot.
But
the development of players means a lot.
He would have had more traction with the modern high school football player if they had changed Madden to Gruden. It had been that long since he had coached.
Really
These kids would have been in,
I think
underoos.
The University of Tennessee program would have, Fulmer was lightning in the bottle. We got. Fulmer was a decent. He's a good coach.
Great coach.
He wasn't a name. Okay, you didn't back then in those times. You really didn't need a name, so to speak. You just needed a decent coach.
You had talent.
Now,
I don't think.
Now, in my opinion, you need a name.
I don't think he was a phenomenal X's and O's coach at all. He was a phenomenal recruiter.
Yep. And then if Gruden wasn't, Gruden's name.
Because if you came to Tennessee a pretty good football player, you could do pretty well at Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of guys were getting coached up at UT.
Yep, and it's like because we're friends with Billy Ratliff. Fulmer didn't really recruit him. It was it was Chavis and the defensive line coach. The defensive line coach convinced Billy to come. So Gruden could have had that. He could have had those guys in the field. Sell this university.
The story that I've always heard, and it sounds correct from other things I've heard, was that Witten was going to Michigan, and they were going to make him a linebacker, and he wanted to play tight end, and Fulmer said, we'll make you a tight end. So he comes to Tennessee, and he goes in the spring, and they put him with linebackers. And ultimately it got worked out to the betterment of everyone.
Yeah.
But I think that Tennessee fans would have done backflips if Jason Witten had been announced as the new head coach. He's never coached a down of football in his life.
I would not have.
But a lot would.
I would have been fine. Yeah, you're right. I mean, just like Alabama fans, they would shit their pants if Sean Alexander.
At what point? Like, look, I'm glad we have someone who's actually moved the football at Florida before as the head coach at Florida right now. But I don't expect a 10-win season next year.
Yeah, I think a lot of it.
There's a lot of talent there, but who's the quarterback? There's all.
I think it's a Southern.
But is he the quarterback?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it's a South thing, a Southern thing, where you want the prodigal son to come home, just like when the Titans, when they, them and Malarkey didn't agree to terms, and they were always like, "Oh, bring Jeff." Not everybody, but a large amount of people bring Jeff Fisher back. Look, we went down there, and Jeff Fisher. I mean, he was 8-8 every year. As far as a human being, I'm sure Jeff Fisher is one of the nicest guys. He seems like a good dude. I wish him no ill will. I'm not a Titans fan, but I have an interest because they're here, and it's easy to keep up with them.
They're on tonight, by the way.
And they are, but I can't get the damn TV to work. Eli cut the damn cable off.
Damn it, Eli.
Oh.
But why? Just because Jeff Fisher was our coach at one time, don't bring him back. It doesn't. First of all, retreads rarely ever work.
That's like a Dallas subplot, and I mean the television show, not the football team. Yeah, that's silly. But again, that comes from the minds of people that don't have anything to do other than worry about, you're overthinking professional football. Read a book.
Yeah, I think it's just this guy, he was nice. We love him. You can love him all you want.
You
but
know, these were the same people that wanted Norm O'Donnell to start over Steve McNair.
Exactly. And I was dead set against that shit. My dad was, Neil O'Donnell. Fuck Neil O'Donnell. He's a great backup at that point in his career. Now, was he ever a great quarterback? No. Was he a decent, serviceable quarterback? Absolutely. He was a serviceable quarterback who could move the ball, make decisions, except for throwing to Larry Brown twice. But Steve McNair was a more dynamic player, more athletic, better arm. Maybe not quite as accurate, but Steve McNair was pretty damn accurate. He was he was fairly accurate.
The more injured he was, the more accurate he was.
Yeah. So that's that's a whole other show.
Just a gamer, but I don't know. That's just kind of a silly thing to me. But
McNair always had. I love McNair. When you start hearing about him at Alcorn State, and I'm like, man. So I started paying attention. That son of a bitch was bad, man. He was a tough.
I guess my point is, sports fans are silly.
Oh yeah, we're retarded.
Calm down.
We are retarded.
Travis got some good news
Relax.
for you, though.
What's that?
Right.
The Vols are going to beat Bama this year.
I hope so.
Write it down. It's going to happen.
You think that you booking it?
I'm booking it.
All right, George.
Nobody's
George
beat
Plaster,
Tennessee
I booked
12
it,
years
you.
in a row, and this is their 12th year.
I hope so. God bless.
It's happening.
And I ain't gonna say shit on Facebook. Yes, I am.
10-point spread, too. I'll call that.
If that happens, we're gonna get drunk as hell. We'll be drunk as hell anyway. Never mind.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
Because
Tennessee
put a
fans either get
caveat on
drunk because they
drinking?
lose or drunk because they win.
no.
you don't have to, but I am.
Good news for us, though. We're going to be 9-3. A lot of people done said that.
9-3. It'd be interesting.
LSU, Mississippi State, and probably Florida State's the only loss.
It'd be interesting. I'm actually more pumped for college this year than I have in a long time. I fell out of love with the college game a few years, probably 10 years or so back. But
when it's all went downhill.
Yeah, I think me and Eli were going to go to the MTSU Florida Atlantic game. Florida Atlantic's coming up to Murfreesboro to play in September. I think that'll be because say what you want about Lane Kiffin, they're fun to fucking watch.
Hey, Vanderbilt, Nevada's $25 a ticket, man.
That ain't bad.
Second Saturday in
I'm
September.
going to see Lane throw about 70 on the Blue Raiders. I think that'll be a.
Lane's gonna kill him.
I just think
I find that most games are better on television.
You don't have to.
I just want to go drink in public.
Street. Man.
Really? No,
Hey.
I'm not.
Do it.
What,
It's a nice
street?
segue into wrestling.
It is, because that's
Yes.
what we're going to next.
Drinking in public.
Yes. So, everybody knows I'm a humongous wrestling fan, as is Lady A. I did take her to.
Yay, sports.
Let me preface this wrestling conversation with she was sweet enough to get me Raw tickets last year.
It was
And
new love.
And we went.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember who was wrestling.
Those people that wrestle.
Yeah. She likes the
girls
She
are
likes
really
the
cute.
ladies. She loves she actually stopped what she's doing that and watched the girls match.
Oh, yeah.
She likes Charlotte Flair. That's her.
Yes, I would call her my favorite.
Yeah. That's
She wears a
pretty
peacock outfit, and I love peacock feathers, so fair.
good.
That's it.
The
Yeah.
peacock feather.
Well,
So-
we'll talk about the women here in a little bit.
Yeah, she likes the women. So we're watching. I can't remember who it was. But anyway, the baby face was getting the shit beat out of him, and everybody's booing and stuff, and she starts laughing, and this 10-year-old kid turns and looks at her like she's short. As Angel she looks at me, she goes, "If this motherfucker looks at me one more time, I'm gonna beat his ass." I'm like, "Oh, you fitting right in, girl. You are fitting right
and I'm
in."
this many beers in.
Yes, times 2
At
with no food.
least.
Oh shit.
So
And I drank on the way up there.
Yes, she did. You killed a 6-pack on the way up there, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Were you
with
thirsty?
with no food.
I'm always thirsty.
So, of course, the babyface is still getting shit beat out of him outside the ring, and she's laughing even more. And
I do laugh uncontrollably during uncomfortable situations.
it's very loud.
Mm-hmm.
Very loud. So this kid turned and looked at her again like she just kicked him in the balls. She's like, "That's some funny fucking shit. I don't give a shit who you are." Andrew, I'm fixing to whip his dad's ass if you keep doing that. Oh, my God. And guess what? She didn't quit doing it.
No.
It kept on.
I had
So
an
I'm like,
idea that this story was heading down that road.
oh, yeah. Everything was fine. She calmed down because she's like, "Oh, I need to eat something. Let me get another beer. I'll be right back." Oh, thank God. So no fisticuffs happened, but yeah, she talked some major shit at Monday Night Raw last
That's what
year.
she's supposed to do.
To a 10.
She does it when we go to
Yes.
Tennessee All Pro.
She's just trying to smarten up this fucking Mark kid.
That's right. Be a little bitch.
The only thing I don't like about Tennessee All Pro is that one dude that keeps hollering, "You suck," all the way through all the matches. Like, dude,
No, he
shut
wasn't
up
there.
and-
He wasn't there last week.
Man, it gets annoying. I'm about telling him, "You suck."
I can't believe you didn't come to my wrestling announcing debut, man.
I watched it.
Man,
I watched
dude, I
it.
got a good pop.
Yeah.
I got a real good pop.
Nice.
Chant my name. It wasn't a Road Warrior pop, but it was a pop.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was.
I think you would do well with that.
Yeah, I was. Well, I was back there.
Hey, Cam.
Hey, Kimberly. We were talking about the Bengals earlier. Sorry. Tooth's girlfriend's a Bengals fan.
Yeah.
Like, legit. Has been for a long time.
Yeah.
Give her props. Can't talk shit about her about that. Like, well, we can't Tony either because boomer. But I was back there my second night. And
a lot of low expectations around here.
yeah. I'm standing back there, and so of course I'm around the wrestler, so I got my gut sucked in, my chest sticking out, and I'm kind of like this. And this one wrestler comes back, and I saw the microphone in my hand. He's like, "Hey man, you announcing?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Jesus Christ, you're bigger than all of us. What the fuck you doing announcing? Get in the ring." No. And Gregory's like, "Man, I fucking told you. I've been telling him." I was like, "You ain't told me shit." But no, I'm gonna get hurt because there's a couple guys. David Knox. He's from Chicago. I believe he's from Chicago because he's a Bears fan. So he wore his Urlacher jersey last week, and he's got Tennessee. The outline of the state of Tennessee with the 3 stars, like the Chicago flag tattooed on him. He's a big motherfucker. And another guy, big heavy. He's about, what do you say, 6'7"?
Yeah.
Probably about 400 pounds, and can actually
Do stuff.
And then there's Big Rig. He's probably, what are you, 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah.
He's probably about 100 pounds more than you.
Wow.
Who's the one that said
But
uncle?
can throw a fucking drop kick. Big. And I was like, I'm not getting in the ring with them motherfuckers. You got me fucked up. What?
The skinny guy keeps saying Uncle.
Oh, LBK.
That
yeah.
dude right there. He's legit.
He's not been there in a while.
Really?
No, he's been working a lot. I think him and Weatherby, they've been doing some stuff up there.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this
Weatherby.
recently. In the modern era, at nearly 6'4", I'd be a monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where I would have been a small heavyweight in the prime days.
Yeah, they were, they tease me because I go to wrestle all the time. They're like, "Man, where you going to wrestle?" I'm like, "I'm not going to fucking wrestle." Like, well, there's already been a Chris Candido. He was 5'8", 220 pounds. I'm not Chris Candido. I'm sorry, not happening.
You get in it, I'll get in it with you.
All right.
We'll be the bushwhackers again.
Yeah, right. There literally was a guy. His name was Chris. He used to date or was married to Sonny. And he was 5'8", 220 pounds. Dude was
great worker.
He was my size and was awesome. Like
Huh.
he could wrestle the big guys, the little guys, and because I always thought when I was a kid, I've been this size since I was 12. So I was like, well, I'll never be a wrestler. I'll never be a basketball player, football player, whatever. But this guy would make you think, well, fuck, he's same exact size I am. I mean, just a little bit better shape.
A little bit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he was awesome. But a little guy.
Whenever your deadlift game is strong, I don't want to hear that.
That's right. 375. Wow. 3 times.
I deadlift
Yeah, all these
265.
guys today are big CrossFitters.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, that's
Terrible form.
exercising for sport is odd to me.
I think it's awesome.
You don't do
I like to watch it.
You don't do Olympic lifts for time.
Yeah. No. I
Not
do
if you want to live.
I do it for gains.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
Olympic lifts are. I mean, there's a reason it's an Olympic sport.
That's
It's
competition.
a technique-driven deal, and you can't learn it in a weekend.
Yeah.
At, some $3,000 cult.
Yeah.
Buy-in at a DoubleTree somewhere where some hipster is trying to teach you how to do cleans,
Yeah, all that's cleans.
and the whole thing's bizarre. But a lot of the modern wrestlers are big into it.
Seth Rollins.
CrossFit Jesus.
And he is in phenomenal shape.
That's legit. Sheamus actually has a YouTube channel
Sheamus is
around. That's the whole thing about the channel is working out with different wrestlers, and they're all in. I actually have talked to the gentleman that is kind of the de facto trainer, and of course they do a modified CrossFit regimen, but I've got to give him his respect. I mean, my man Carl Anderson's looking like $1 million these days. He became a father for the 4th time yesterday. Named that young man Cash.
Cash.
With a C or a K?
Hopefully with a K.
Do y'all remember?
Because he's the machine gun.
Last year in the Little League World Series regionals. I think it was last year.
No, because I'm an adult. I don't watch the Little League World Series.
Well, this one guy's. No, I didn't watch it. I saw it on Facebook today. This one guy, his kid was this kid. His name is like Caleb Money. So they pan to the crowd, and his kid brother. His name is Cash Money.
Oh no!
So you know what kind of sunglasses he's got on?
Cash Money.
$signs. You know he's got spray painted or airbrushed on his cheeks? $signs. That fucking kid's going places.
He better.
Just because his name.
That's badass right there.
Yeah, you better live up to your name.
Probably like 8, and he's got those bling. Proud of that kid.
You gotta live the gimmick.
You gotta live it. There's a pterodactyl in here. So Josh, wrestling. They'll probably go to sleep while we're talking about this.
No, we could. There's enough going on right now to interest everybody. I think from the women's side, we've got the first American women's pay-per-view coming in the fall. I don't know why the WWE wants to act like they invented women's wrestling when this has been going on in Japan for 30 years. But be that as it may, it's a nice step.
Let's start off with your opinion on women's wrestling, because I'm just, while you still have my attention, I'm just dying to hear it.
Well, you know, again, and this will be a recurring theme, but Japan, this has been going on for 30 years, and
like Bull Nakura?
Some of the most phenomenal entertainers that I've seen in this business have been on the female side. From overseas, and I was actually having this conversation the other day. You know, right now, if you said I don't like women's wrestling or I don't like women's MMA, you could catch some grief about that. But if you said I don't like the WNBA, nobody would bat an eye.
Well, yeah.
And again, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier of the individual. You always have the opportunity to build how you want to present yourself to the public. You know, I'm not happy with the fact that Asuka has been brought to the main roster and completely...
So was she like... What's her history with Japan? I mean...
She is legendary. And I don't know. There's so many female Japanese wrestlers coming in right now. The second annual Mae Young Classic is actually going on tonight in Orlando, and the legendary Miko Satomura is there. She's been wrestling for 25 years.
Oh wow.
Had a long feud with Kana, a.k.a. Asuka. That was one of the first times I ever saw her perform. You know, she's probably, Asuka's 36, I would say. So it's a very limited window for her to come in. And Triple H was really honoring everything that she had built, all the equity she had put into her character internationally, by having her go completely undefeated in NXT, including not dropping the NXT Women's title, which Vince McMahon wanted before she was brought to the main roster. And so to carry that to WrestleMania, where she and Charlotte Flair had the match of the night, hands down.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
She watched that one.
Yeah, I was impressed.
And then she went to bed after that.
Yeah.
They had the match of the night, hands down, and then again,
It told a great story.
If you
And
know
that's wrestling.
psychology and you know how these stories are supposed to be told, it doesn't shock anyone who's really in the know that these two had a phenomenal match, told a phenomenal story. But only 3 nights later, you've ended the winning streak, and now you have Charlotte Flair drop the title to a girl who I have no personal issues with, but who is not a wrestler. And you've had Asuka on multiple occasions lay down to this same girl who's not a wrestler. Again, that's no knock on her. She's got great charisma. But when you're bringing back guys like James Ellsworth to fill holes in a match,
yes,
because this young lady doesn't have the experience and at this point the skill to carry on 4 or 5 minutes on a pay-per-view, like where you're literally throwing her to the floor so this far superior competitor can work with the boyfriend in the ring just to set up a fluke finish. I don't know who benefits from that.
As Conrad Thompson says, who booked this shit?
If you knew that and Charlotte Flair went away because she had a ruptured breast implant.
Oh.
So, but if you knew this going in, why don't you just have Asuka go over at Mania?
Yeah, that would have been.
And what's really worrisome for me as a fan is that the WWE recently signed Io Shirai, who is 25 years old, maybe technically speaking, the best woman wrestler in the world.
I'm not familiar with that.
And because she's Japanese.
Oh, yeah, I don't get that channel.
And
Well, TJ, throw into the
I will before he leaves, but I don't.
The WWE has a long history of, if you're a black wrestler, you're probably going to get a racist gimmick. If you're
It goes back to Glow.
Yeah, it does.
an Asian wrestler, you're probably going to, I think one of the great injustices in the history of the business is that the Great Muta was never the WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
He should have been.
And
Great
the reason
Muta.
that he wasn't is because they didn't think they could turn him face because he was Japanese. And the foreigner has to be the heel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
He did
Southern
things
wrestling
you
there.
had never seen.
Yeah, that's Bible Belt booking.
Yeah.
Right.
'Cause
But, I
Muta,
mean,
Muta could carry.
his ring style was so far evolved. The guys are doing today what he did in 1986.
Right, look at the matches he had with Flair and Sting and Steamboat back in the day. Dude, Muta
And the
worked,
thing,
man.
and the
He's
thing
a
about
worker.
those matches is, even though he wasn't a big guy, I didn't believe they could beat him.
No. And a lot of it was, again, like the guys now, they tell them, your gimmick is a lot of your look. That's what I've talked to somebody who's got with the guys at Tap. Man, the look sells a lot of it because Muta had that face paint, and I saw that shirt you had.
Yes,
that's a badass shirt. But because he had the face paint, and it wasn't like Sting's face paint, it wasn't like the Road Warriors face paint. It was different. It wasn't like Warriors. It was so different. It was intimidating if you were a kid and you saw like, oh shit, wow, because the Road Warriors was fun because Animal had the spider and Hawk had the on the top and the bottom, and Sting's was fun, and Warriors was pretty cool with all the vibrant colors. Muta's was, I don't want to say dark, but it was different. You know what I mean? And it gave that an intimidating factor to it.
Didn't the Demolition have
Demolition? Yeah, Demolition.
spikes and the...
Yeah, they were almost a rip off of LOD, but they were a little different. Their face paint was different. It wasn't. Theirs was intimidating.
Well,
but Muta's, because it was more dimensional.
Yeah.
It had different effects going on.
if you go back and look at the promo where they introduce Muta on WTBS in the 6:05 hour, Gary Hart and
Gary Hart.
Hiro Matsuda, who they would later use in a. I kind of knew where they were going, where they.
He trained Hogan, right?
Hiro Matsuda trained a lot of guys.
Yeah, I think he trained. He
was based
Hogan's
out of
leg.
Florida.
Yeah, he broke Hogan's leg.
And Luger, Ron Simmons, all these guys kind of earned their chops under Hiro Matsuda. But if you go back and look at that promo, Gary Hart's got his back to the camera the whole time. It's building atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It's the psychology of getting over this guy who doesn't speak. Never mind, doesn't speak English. He doesn't speak. It was part of the mythos of the character of Muta. And then when you saw him work, he's like a cobra. Again, doing high spots that are popular today, 30 years ago. I just never... It goes back to everything has to be believable. You know, I know Bryan Cranston isn't a chemist whiz cooking meth to, leave a nest egg for his family when he dies of lung cancer.
Yeah.
But I buy it on TV.
Right.
I'm willing to suspend the belief. That's acting.
That's the whole deal with it. That's the whole deal with every TV show, in wrestling included. The suspension of
and if you'll go back 2 weeks
Get lost in
ago
it.
on NXT, if you go back 2 weeks ago on NXT, and you can find this anywhere on the internet, it's been a long time since I've seen a crowd react the way they did when Tommaso Ciampa won the NXT Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
Because he has worked for the last 2 years to solidify himself as the heel of all heels in his program with Johnny Gargano. And they've sold that based on reality, on a real friendship. They've brought in...
Sorry, the pterodactyl got me.
Candice LeRae, who's Johnny's wife, who's also a wrestler. They found more ways than cable melodrama to
a Lifetime movie network show.
Not quite that cheesy. But they even by using the Captain America and Thanos imagery in their ring gear for their street fight at the last NXT TakeOver. It's the little things like that that build in backstory. It's no different than really putting together a good short film.
Like, going back to with Gary Hart and everything, do you think that when they brought Asuka in, do you think that having somebody like that, like an advocate, not Paul Heyman, but just somebody like that, you think that would have helped her any? Because I think she was over like fucking gangbusters from the get-go.
I think Asuka. It would have helped her with management.
Because Asuka's
more so than anything. In today's, if you're one of the dedicated in modern wrestling, so much more is put on the in-ring performance now than even when we were coming up. Right. Because we were fortunate enough in a place that had multiple outlets of Southern wrestling. They were the better workers, in the 80s, as opposed to the big characters of the WWE. We didn't really get into that. Yeah. I was more interested in what Ric Flair and Jerry Lawler were doing. Yes. Because that was real.
That was, when I was a kid, who's your favorite?
That's the reason
who's
they
your
all...
favorite wrestler? Hulk Hogan? Fuck no, Jerry Lawler. Who's your favorite bad guy? Ric fucking Flair. Well, who's your second favorite bad guy? Austin Idol. Who? Austin Idol. You don't know who the fuck?
Because they were trying to convey believability. That's why they got color.
Right. Now, Tony, have you seen Asuka, the Japanese wrestler? Dude, you need to.
She's badass.
She is all. Even she watched that match with her and Flair, or Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. It's great.
Yeah, it is.
That wrestling will bring you to the wrestling we grew up on when they wrestle, because they tell such a great story. There's not these high spots because they're high spots. Because, let's not do a fucking 360 plancha off the top rope into the crowd. Let's wrestle. That's why Asuka and Charlotte Flair.
Old school wrestling.
It's the stories they tell. I love Asuka. Love her to death. She is one of my favorite female wrestlers, to be honest with you.
And I'm a little biased because I've been studying catch wrestling for about the last 10 years, as a competitor. But those principles, I mean, that's why I think Shayna Baszler is great, because she trained under the legendary Billy Robinson. She trained under Josh Barnett.
Right.
These are the people that are keeping that lineage alive.
Right.
And it was all built, Stu Hart, it was all built out of the premise of when Stu is stretching guys in the basement, he's doing that, showing you a shoot submission hold.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you're in a worked environment, I can cinch that up on you, and you're going to have the proper reaction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, even though I'm not, it's not for shoot.
Yeah.
And
to
that's
me,
one of the stunning things to me about Ronda Rousey. I didn't know how she was going to make the transition.
Yeah, she loves Ronda.
Oh, yeah.
She's awesome.
Because I didn't know how she was going to do with the promos.
She's getting better. She still needs work. Still needs some work.
She does need
But
work.
that's hard.
She can't
though.
act
I thought
for
she
shit.
was tremendously entertaining at Mania. Her athleticism just shined through tremendously.
She's
Maybe
an athlete over an
maybe the
entertainer.
only demerit I would say is going a little too fast.
Yeah.
But you learn that. She hadn't had any matches.
Oh, I can imagine the adrenaline.
But if
rush.
you look at the
Oh,
Nia
yeah.
Jax match for the title, I turned to my brother. I said, Ronda Rousey's the best-selling female in this company. And you know why?
Yeah.
Because she's been knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what it's like.
Yeah.
So she's selling.
She got her ass whooped on Fast and Furious.
And
Hell yes, she did. That was a good
that's a
fight.
different kind of selling.
Damn good fight.
But, you know,
I
again, with the whole
Letty.
the whole female thing, there are tremendous female performers coming up, you know, as opposed to what it used to be, which was fitness models, scantily clad, running around,
And they still
trying to
are.
throw a drop
which
kick.
I had no
Queen
fucking
Elizabeth.
problem with at all.
But they
Stacey,
still
I
are.
love
Yeah, but
Stacey
you didn't
Keebler,
have-
Trish Stratus and Tori Wilson.
Give me the Gail Kims,
Oh yeah,
the people that can really work.
I got to see her when I was in Impact, second row there in McMinnville.
I actually
She's phenomenal.
chewed someone out recently when we were watching. They were like, "Well, you know, she looks good," and I was like, "What the fuck's that got to do with
Yeah.
it?"
Well,
Now, obviously,
A lot.
that's yes.
Yeah.
Look matters if you're a guy in
Hell,
wrestling.
it matters to me too.
But I'm talking about in wrestling, you have to a good
Yeah.
look. Drew McIntyre can draw money.
mm-hmm.
John Cena.
That guy has the look. He has the skills. He can talk. He's the guy they should be talking about against Lesnar, but that's neither here nor there.
And I'm, you know, like, you know, these girls are different than like, you know, Beulah or Come On Leia or those people.
Yeah, being attractive is fine,
It
but
attracts the audience. It may
but-
not keep you there.
but that was the first thing out of their mouth, and I was like, well, let's talk about whether they can work.
Yeah.
Let's
Because
start there.
when I was
Because there's no shortage of attractive women.
No.
during the Attitude Era, you know, and when Nitro was hot, when the Divas come on, I would turn it to WCW. Well, we would at your house.
Sure.
Because, like, it's a shit match. You know, Josh would be nice and let me watch the entrances so I could see them when they would get in and disrobe. All right, so we got to turn it. Cool, man, do it. So we turn it to Nitro because we knew it was going to be a shit match. It was not. You could not suspend your belief for a second and think, okay, this is real.
Yeah.
Let's pretend this is a real fight. You couldn't do that. I mean, it was fine to watch him walk down the ring. You know, Stacey would bend over the ropes, get in there. He'd give me that, and then he'd turn it. All right, turn it, dude. That's fine.
That's not what I wanted to see.
But that's not like. But you take like Bones. That's one reason he watched it back in the day. That's what got him watching it. And by the way, he said he might show up with his autographed print shirt tonight.
Did
Well, you know,
American Gladiators
that's
have
the
wrestlers?
only piece of Prince memorabilia that someone has that I don't have. And that's
I'll tell him
kind
he
of
said
a
that.
strange,
He's watching. I guarantee it.
strange thing. But yeah, that's legendary.
That is legendary. Well,
American Gladiators. You remember the TV show?
yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
What those women on there wrestlers?
I think one of them did maybe in Glow or something. She went from Glow to American Gladiators because it was after. I think it was after Glow or around the same time. But you know, Ivory started in Glow.
Yes.
Which that documentary and that TV show were fucking wonderful.
They
Yes,
are.
great.
She loves it. My daughter loves the show, or the documentary. She can't watch
Awesome
the show.
Kong was really good.
Yes.
Back in the early days,
Good acting chops.
Yes.
didn't Queen Elizabeth wrestle?
No.
I
No,
thought
she's
she
just
wrestled one time or something.
No, she
No?
threw some slaps and
Okay.
probably some mule kicks or something, but no, she didn't.
She was a news girl in Kentucky,
Wow.
and Angelo Poffo, which is Randy Savage's father, was running an outlaw territory up there, basically trying to follow Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler around and ape off of their business, and that ended up with Randy Savage trying to jump Bill Dundee outside of a gym in Nashville. And
Hell yeah.
Bill Dundee pulled a
Superstar Bill Dundee.
357 on him, and
Dude, that's storylines right
You know.
there. That's storylines. That was
That's
one
not
of those-
staged yet either.
no, that wasn't staged.
Yeah, that was great shit.
That was the good old days. But yeah, if you go on YouTube and search Kana, Kana, that was Asuka's ring name in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a trained graphic designer. Look at the different looks she brings to the ring.
The last time she wrestled, she's like, oh, her hair's longer. It's a different color. Oh, she's got thongs on that side of her.
And when
her trunk. And I'm actually, my perverted ass, I'm not even paying attention to it.
When she
That's
first
right.
came to the WWE, you saw a little more of that, but over time, they regulated her to the same look every
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And that's
And
boring.
It's very boring. These people are artists.
Well, and
It's a performance
even
art.
Charlotte Flair recycles her outfits, and that makes me sick.
The only
Because that's why I'm watching.
the only thing I really enjoy about Charlotte is she will recycle some of Rick's robes.
Oh, no, now that's cool.
That is, but she only does, like the peacock one. That
Well,
was one of
and
Rick's
I think,
songs.
look, I
Where's
think
that? I've
she's
seen that
good
like 4
for the
times.
sport. Look, she's 6 feet tall. She's a phenomenal athlete.
She's a gymnast.
Pretty damn hot too.
She came to the business very late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be married to Brown.
Out of basically trying to fulfill the dream of her brother,
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair's youngest son,
yeah.
who passed away from a drug overdose.
Yep.
So it's a really good story. But if you go back 10 years or so to the film The Wrestler,
That's good.
there was.
Good show.
It's not a coincidence that the next film that Darren Aronofsky made was Black Swan, because he's trying to draw the parallel between the two. These are very physically demanding
Did you
performance
kill a
arts
pterodactyl? Thank you.
Now, I've not seen the Black Swan.
with very niche audiences. As someone who's, will be at a wrestling show and also has season tickets for ballet, the parallels between the two. One's looked at as very high art, one not so much. But no one realizes the physical demand of both of those. The fact that you're mixing this incredible physicality with artistry, and you're playing to it's an underappreciated role, and your fan base is very niche.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
We'll talk about this in a minute, but what makes the All Out pay-per-view that is coming up in September 1st in Chicago so special is that this will be the first time that a wrestling company is going to do $1 million gate that wasn't run by Vince McMahon.
Wow.
Think about that.
Not even heyday of Nitro.
No,
Seriously?
seriously.
Wow,
And,
that's a crazy stat right there. That's that's a holy shit. What's the pay per view buy on that?
One
What's
of the interesting things, well, that kind of ties into all of today's news that came out. But one of the interesting things about that is you're obviously going to do sellouts for WrestleMania because it's become an event,
and the economic impact on cities
right?
is ridiculous,
But
and is great. That's
we know the people of
awesome.
New Orleans aren't going to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
People
no.
fly in for these shows.
Mhm.
It's a dedicated niche audience.
Yep.
and we know that. Your average WWE house show these days is lucky to do 2,000 people.
Right. And back in '98, it was doing 10.
Yeah, the gates. Well, to put it in perspective, and this is what's different about the business. Yeah, these guys are getting guaranteed contracts, but they're 200 days a year on the road, which is less than you used to be. And a guy like me, I probably would love to have the Young Bucks schedule where I'm wrestling in Japan for a week and then, going here because I like to travel. But back in the day, you could make a full living, and if you were on top, you could make an incredible living working a territory where you slept in your own bed every night. Yeah, you may have been driving all day.
Right.
But some of the payouts, I've seen these things get traded at collector shows. Some of the old check stubs from like the San Francisco or the St. Louis Wrestling Club, which was Thatcher, Harley Race, and Ric Flair on one night in the main event in St. Louis. Flair's check, I think, was $16,000.
Holy shit.
In today's money, that would have been a $40,000 night.
God,
Wow.
At one time, think about this in terms of real dollars. At one time, Dusty Rhodes was the biggest draw in Florida. He had the book in Atlanta, and he was working a program with Superstar.
Ended up in New York.
Billy Graham in New York. That was all happening simultaneously.
Damn.
So in today's dollars, Dusty was probably doing $60,000 to $75,000 a week.
Yeah, because those.
Jerry Lawler. Why did Jerry Lawler not go to WWE, quote unquote? Because he owned 10% of Memphis, and they would draw 15,000 people every Monday night.
Hey, we're going to see you next Thursday night at Zany's, him and JR.
Yes.
We got VIP tickets.
I'll be at Zany's to see Joey Diaz, but I will not be at the JR show. Much to my chagrin. But yeah, that's how the business was. And then if you cooled off a little bit, you just went to another territory.
Yep.
The performers had far more of an opportunity to ply their trade. You didn't have guaranteed contracts, but you were getting a piece of the house. If you drew money, you were going to make money. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't have left Memphis either if I was Jerry Lawler, because he was getting 10% of the territory.
No,
or if you're a top draw like an Ole Anderson was in Georgia, like in the Georgia Championship Wrestling days, if you're the top draw and you've got the book,
don't go anywhere.
Okay, well, you're booking 4 nights a week.
Wow.
So you're doing $20,000 weeks, and this is 1977.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
And Ole was...
So think of that in today's dollars.
And Ole was like... I'm not trying to speak bad of the man, but he didn't have the body. He didn't have the look.
Was he the oldest?
Yeah, he was the oldest of the original Four Horsemen. Yeah, he was Arn's brother, which Arn's from fucking Minnesota. It's not really Ole's brother.
Well, shit, I just learned something.
Yeah, but Ole, he had a good mind, and he had his promos were, in my mind, a lot like Jake's, quiet, to the point. He'd point, but he'd get real quiet where you had to go, what's he saying? I can't hear him. And it would make you believe that's a tough son of a bitch. And he probably was a tough son of a bitch.
And I'm just saying that for perspective. Back then, Jim Londos or Bruno Sammartino could sell out Madison Square Garden for the WWF. But they would run that every 3 or 4 weeks. Okay? The Omni was selling out every Monday night. That's how big professional wrestling was. A lot of people were making very comfortable livings.
Yeah, you talk about, you said
business.
You said Rick's, his money with, when he was wrestling Harley there in St. Louis. Okay, you take Ole making $20,000 a week in today's money. Imagine what Rick was making when he was in the smaller territories, because he's Rick fucking Flair. He's not Ole Anderson.
Right.
Absurd, and that's why he, when
and this is the guy that's charged with going around the country and putting over, because that's the key. What made Ric Flair the greatest wrestler of all time was he could come into your territory, and if you had a Bruiser Brody in there at that time, that's going to be a hell of a match. That's an easy sellout.
Every time.
But if your top babyface is, Killer Bob Lewis or some shit like that, somebody that's not a very good worker, but he's over with the people in that territory for whatever reason, might be a hometown boy, who knows. Flair's got to go up there and make him look like $1 million.
Yep, and he could.
And back in that time, the reason that Crockett in particular was, I thought, so much better than the WWE product was Dusty made sure that the top workers were heels.
Yeah, you almost have to be.
And it didn't matter that Sting wasn't that great a worker. All he had to do was beat on his chest and do a power slam. Yeah. Everybody else, those other guys would do the heavy lifting.
Right. Exactly. That's the great part of a heel is twofold. First of all, to me, as a heel, you're considered one of the better wrestlers because you make people look good. That's your job. You're the bad guy. Good always triumphs over evil. That's the part of wrestling. Good beats evil. So the evil guy has to make. Of course, he gets his run, and then the babyface has the white hot comeback like they always do, and so he makes him like $1 million. But also as a heel, you can screw up, you can miss a spot, you could slip, but that's okay because you're the heel. You're supposed to mess up.
Yeah.
Because that is the power of the good triumphing over evil because you can mess up. So it's easy. I've heard the heel guys who've been predominantly heels in their careers say that it's easier to be a heel because you have that a longer leash to mess up in the ring.
And you can even make the comeback on that look cartoonish if you want to, because this guy can whip your ass.
Well,
that's the whole.
Look at Flair doing the fish flop. That he'll stagger and then fall.
Or land in
He's made millions of dollars doing that.
And some in my opinion, very jealous people have used that as a negative against Ric Flair, that he had certain spots that were built into his match. But again, he was a guy having to go to every territory. Some of these people saw him once every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he took the same approach, whether you like it or not, that I went blank. The last living Beatle.
The one that's
Well, there's Ringo and Paul.
Oh, is Ringo still alive? Yeah. Paul.
Yeah. Somehow Ringo's still alive. I don't know how.
Yeah, we tend to forget about Ringo.
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen him live, he plays the songs the way they recorded them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen him.
Mm-hmm.
Because his thing is that this is the way people remember the song.
Yes.
This is what they want to hear.
Exactly.
It's not always my favorite way of doing it. But I understand.
Yeah, my end. That's the way I want it. I like it.
I want it to sound like everything that I have memorized.
Yeah,
all
I
these
see
years.
it. I can see it both ways. But that's essentially what Flair did.
Yeah.
But
like Tony said, when he flips over the rope and runs down the apron, and then they give him a clothesline, that's what I expect to see out of a Flair match. That's what I want. I know Flair's going to put on a good match anyway, but those spots, that's what because it entertains me. It makes me laugh when he does them because I'm like, that's Ric Flair. Because you're thinking your whole time, he looks like a jackass, but he's still going to fucking win. Right?
Sure.
There,
And there's more money in the face chasing Rick.
Oh,
There's always more money in the face chasing the heel.
Yep. Yeah, that's and that's why you take a guy like Undertaker, one of the biggest guys, one of the most popular, probably the best character ever. The way he can when he's working heel, the way he can have a face chase him is it's unreal how he works a match. Unreal. He can work it with Rey Mysterio, or he can work it with Braun Strowman, and he's gonna make them both look like $1 million fucking bucks.
I say to this day that character. And of course, you know me a long time. I was always into the technical wrestlers, the Regals, the Benoits, those guys.
Regal.
Dean Malenko. I love those guys.
Malenko.
So I'm into the super scientific wrestlers, but as a character, I think that's Vince McMahon's greatest accomplishment is The Undertaker.
No doubt.
People always say Hogan, but you forget
Yeah.
Hogan
started in Minnesota.
had already he'd already been to Japan, and Inoki had seen what this guy could be, and he'd been to Memphis. They saw what he could be. The famous story is Jerry Lawler and Jerry Jarrett signed for him like a Mercedes Benz, and he left the territory. Took the damn car, left them with the note. The same thing happened with Eddie Graham in Florida. But everybody knew that Terry Boulder, which is what he was at the time, Terry the Hulk Boulder, that he was going to be a superstar because he had the sideburns and the Fu Manchu, and he was just so damn big and not fat big like he would be later. At like the peak of Hulkamania when the roids were at their Mexican supplements were at an all-time high. He was like lean and chiseled, and he just didn't look like anybody else in wrestling.
The Rocky 3 days.
And that Rocky 3 was 1982. This is before he ever worked for the WWF.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people, unless you were kind of there, don't know. He was still working for Vern Gagne when Rocky went down. So Hulk was always going to be big. But the Undertaker gimmick should not have lasted over a year on paper.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But the right guy and
89?
the right vision,
Somewhere around there.
they've been able to recreate that character over and over.
88, 89?
I had my kids watch the YouTube. I brought it up on YouTube where he used to come out with that dude carrying the
Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer.
Oh!
And the Undertaker come out of the casket. My kids are like, "What the heck?"
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's great. If you got the network.
Yes,
I'm sure you watch NXT. The Something Else to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard.
Mm-hmm.
They did an episode on.
Not a big fan
Undertaker.
of Pritchard or his podcast.
I like the just because I try to get ideas from them how they do things.
He's so loyal to Vince.
Yeah, and Conrad Thompson is fucking not. Holy shit.
My brother told me that guy is engaged to Ric Flair's oldest daughter. Is that true?
I don't know. I know he's a mortgage guy because he used to be on the radio when I was in Franklin all the time. Hey, Conrad Thompson here. First Family Mortgage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They did a really good episode on. They did a really good one on their season finale was on Punk. Have you seen that one?
No.
Punk? It's good. The one they did on Taker, I think it was just pretty much the Big Evil years. It was really good. They did one on Cena,
which was him really making that character his own.
Yeah. He
playing himself,
extension of himself.
But I could see why,
or as William Regal calls him, John Cena instead of Cena.
I could see why some people just wanted the traditional.
Yeah. Big Evil was a nice change.
Yeah, I
preferred it. I liked it
honestly, just because I like that realism.
Yeah, it was great.
I mean,
they went more,
I'd seen this guy wrestle for 6 years already before he came. And that's another thing. Growing up in the territory system, I see Percy Pringle on TV with his hair dyed black, coming out with Mean Mark Callis, and I'm like, why is Percy Pringle got his hair dyed black?
Exactly.
Why is he not? Why is he not in Dallas?
Yeah.
With Rick Rude.
Yeah, why is he not there with the?
I didn't get all that as a kid. I didn't understand.
And Rick Rude, man,
but he was ravishing.
He was a bad guy.
Should have been the world champion.
Yes, I agree. He was the WCW International Champion. That was at that time was the big. That was a big belt.
I remember him working in Memphis.
The big belt that Flair had all those years. That was the international belt, and the smaller belt was the world title belt. It was a little bigger than the NWA belt, but smaller than the international, which in turn became the WCW world title. Rude. When I was a kid, I gravitated. I mean, of course, I liked Lawler. Of course, who didn't really? Everybody liked Hogan.
I didn't. I didn't like. I wasn't into those kinds of wrestling.
I like Rick. And Rick Rude was a bad guy, and everybody just hated. But I always loved Rick Rude. I always loved Ric Flair.
He kissed the women.
Like piece. What do you call
I tell you honestly, from that WWE era, the guy that I love was Ricky Steamboat.
Steamboat?
Ricky the Dragon.
Because I usually root for the heels.
Well, yeah, and Steamboat is like, I guess maybe him and, well, Warrior might have been in the independent days, in like in UWF and when he started out in California. Jeff Brandon actually trained with Warrior back in the day. Somebody see him ask him about it.
Really?
Yeah, sure did. But Rick Steamboat is one of the very few guys who started his professional career as strictly working as a face. Never had a heel turn. Because honestly, I mean, how long we've known each other for years. You're a heel guy, I'm a heel guy. Has there ever been a more beloved face than Ricky Steamboat?
No.
Never. Has there ever been a work? I mean,
you couldn't have turned Ricky Steamboat heel if you wanted.
There's no possible scenario.
Doesn't work.
And I think a lot of it had to do with those.
It's like trying to get a babyface to run out of Tully Blanchard. Can't do it.
It wasn't happening. I wasn't going to believe it.
No.
I love Tully Blanchard back in the day. Which will segue into the modern day Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. Beer Money. James Storm, Bobby Roode. James Storm,
100%.
good friend of mine. Bobby Roode, great worker. I'm telling you, Tony, I know you've been watching wrestling for a little bit. Watch SmackDown, watch Bobby Roode wrestle. When he first started I first saw him on Impact. You might probably saw him a little earlier. Impact, he come out in a Tully Blanchard-esque robe. He had the longer hair that was curly, almost Rick Rudish, have it slicked back. And he was an asshole. He was a phenomenal heel. I mean, just great. He was supposed to be this rich guy, all this money, and he was a believable heel. If you just take off the glasses, the rose-colored glasses, okay, this guy's rich and he's an ass. He was that good, and a lot of it to me was the presentation of the character, the robe, the tights, and then again, how he worked. He worked Blanchard-esque. To me, he's the throwback. And I got to watch him wrestle live a couple times, and man, he puts on a show. He's a great heel. He's a good working heel. How he works and how he tells a story is a great heel. And then you got Storm, who, to me, in my opinion, in Beer Money, he was the enforcer. He was the muscle. He's a little bit bigger than Rude. Not quite as big as Arn, if you want to do a comparison. But phenomenal hand, great worker, good buddy of mine.
Blunt
beer
force
drinker.
trauma was his ring style.
Yes, he's a brawler. And he's a great one of the. Even though they were in Impact and people slide it, or TNA as it was back then, it fallen off. It's getting a little better now that Austin Aries is back, one of the best wrestlers
in the world.
There a few years ago, it kind of got a little shitty.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. Back when it was TNA and when Jarrett had the book and Jarrett owned the majority of it, Beer Money was, the tag team they did, the psychology of their tag team matches was just perfect. And even when Storm was with Chris Harris with Wildcat, their it was what the fuck was the name of their tag team? Young something. He gets mad 'cause I always forget him.
I remember that team, but I don't remember what they're called.
Because Chris Harris went to WWE, and Storm's like, "No, man, you need to wait, and then he went. Shit, I don't have my phone. It's recording. Sorry, I can't think of it. They were great tag team, but Storm, it needs to be in the big show right now,
which is a lost art in and of itself. You don't see tag teams anymore.
Yeah, and I agree. And a lot of people started bitching about that a few years ago about how. We need more tag teams. So then they were like throwing tag teams for the sake of throwing tag teams.
No.
And it wasn't the Hart Foundation. It wasn't the Bulldogs. It wasn't Tully and Arn. It wasn't even Flair and Arn. They had great continuity as a tag team. It wasn't LOD, greatest tag team, in my opinion, of all time. Better than the Dudleys was LOD. Road Warriors, whatever. They worked everywhere. And the Dudleys worked everywhere. Now, but LOD was in Japan. And what nobody stiff shot them over there. Wasn't going to happen because you can get your fucking ass beat. Even back when Dusty and the other blonde-headed guy from Minnesota, Dick the Bruiser,
Yeah, or Dick Murdoch.
Dick Murdoch. They were,
He's from
and
Texas.
and that's one thing that people don't realize is Dusty was a heel.
Yes.
Dusty was a heel tag team with Murdoch, and they were some bad asses, man. They were awesome.
Wasn't Justice a good heel?
Sid was. I think he was a good. Sid was a better heel than he was face. Because being a heel hid his lack of wrestling ability.
I was about to say he wasn't that talented. He was good, but not.
Yeah, Sid had a look. Sid had one of the best looks
Yeah.
because his traps were so huge. He had that crazy, top blonde.
Yeah.
That to me did really well. His in ring. He was like Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash had 7 moves, but Kevin Nash made a lot of money on those 7 fucking moves too. And Kevin Nash could have a believable match with Shawn, but that was because of Shawn. But
Shawn could work with Mob.
Shawn could work with us.
Yeah.
And make it a believable match. That dude, he's the second greatest wrestler of all time, as far as pure wrestling goes. That I got to see. You can't count like Frank Gotch and Ed Lewis and stuff because I never got to see that stuff. But Shawn, Rick is Rick number 1, Shawn number 2.
And again, as a catch wrestling aficionado, the Frank Gotches and the Eds, they not only built modern professional wrestling, they built what's now mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
So all this is...
You didn't fuck around with those people.
No,
it wasn't happening.
No, if you were world heavyweight wrestling champion, then it was a shoot.
I saw a shoot match at Tennessee All Pro about a month ago.
Really?
Yeah, I told on the show.
Did it start that way?
No. This guy come out, and I never heard of him. We go every other week. I'm friends with a lot of the wrestlers on Facebook. They're super good guys, and they're a lot of them are really, really good. Very like Gregor, the champ, Greg McDaniel. He's one of the most believable characters. He's such a great heel. He's a fucking dick. He's a nice guy.
He's great. Yeah,
but when he's in the ring, man, he'll point at somebody. And he goes, they'll say, "You suck." He goes, "You suck," and just the way he delivers it, the way he points a finger and then brings it up, you're like, God, what a dick.
He's got cocky charisma to him.
Great.
Yeah.
And David Knox, I'm not trying to put the guy over now. He does that himself. But he's a monster. He's a big guy. And you look at him like, yeah, that dude could fuck me up right there. And then he's kind of with the trio and big heavy. You're like, that's a big. He looks really mean. But this guy, I can't remember his name, but he comes out wearing has his name on a beige color T-shirt that his name's airbrushed on it, like he'd been to the Coffee County Fair in 1992.
Yeah,
and it's purple.
Mullet.
And he does have a semi-mullet. It's not so much party in the back, but it's feathered down the middle, like Bob Seger got a haircut. No offense to Bob Seger.
Well, it's painting a picture there, man.
Yeah, kind of like Bones' haircut. Yeah. So he comes out
feed sack optional.
Exactly. Randy Owens with a feed sack. Love you, Bones. He'll listen to this shit too. I'll catch hell tomorrow.
We love you.
So this guy comes out and he's got the beige T-shirt on, airbrush, and he's got traditional boots on, black, like a good look. I love just regular black boots, not the high ones, just the mid cuts. They look good. And he has on some black tights. It's got like a claw print, and they're like highlighted purple. And with me, I'm a Prince fan. I have purple Oakleys. I like the color purple. I have purple socks. I have purple Macho Man socks, purple underwear, purple shirt that I wear all together, so I feel like Prince one day. And he's got that color purple on. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But he walks out. He's got his hand behind his back like William Regal. And he's kind of doing this number. I'm like, all right, dude, you're not Steven Regal. Sorry. Well, you're not even William Regal. You're none of the above. You're not. He's a man. You remember that gimmick? He's not that. So he walks out. I'm like, who the fuck's this guy? So he's fighting Larry Cooter, and Larry Cooter, he's a face, and his wife is out there, Brittany Love, and Brittany Love and my daughter just fire back and forth constantly when they're out there.
That's great.
And she'll actually, when they get done, she'll kind of wink at Hope, saying, hey, just working. Hope's like, yeah, gotcha. She knows what it is. She has fun doing it. So Cooter's fairly big guy. You wouldn't really want to fuck with him in public. We'll put it that way. So they get out there and they start the match, and he says something, and we think it's part of the match. Brittany Love slaps the dog piss out of it. Like, oh, that's cool. Oh shit! So I'm texting Andrew. It's first night that Tennessee All Pro had service inside their building with my cell phone. So I'm like, oh my god, I can text my girlfriend. This is awesome. So I'm watching the match. I'm like, okay, well, they're going at it pretty good. And I'm texting Andrew. I'm like, all right, well, damn, all right, that's normal match. Like, no big deal. Well, then I hear,
That's odd.
there's no stomping. Cooter wasn't stomping the mat like he was when he throw punches. All I hear is skin on skin.
He's hard-weighing him.
Shit.
Yeah, he's potatoing the fuck out of it. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then he throws him out of the ring. And dude, like, trying to, like, walk, run around, not run, but kind of, like, slowly run around the ring. And Cooter grabs him and goes, nope, not yet. Gets him in there and just potatoes like hell. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So, I'm like, oh, something ain't right. You could tell he's not pulling, he's not selling. Something's going on. Throws him out, and then dude tries to go across the barrier. And Cooter goes, nope, not yet, buddy. Throws him in the ring, and this guy's head's laying on the mat. He's laying down like this, and Cooter takes his heel and is just smashing it on dude's nose. Oh, my God, this is a shoot. I mean, straight up shoot. And he starts
get some color from that.
Oh, he starts tattooing this dude in the fucking head. Boom. Dude jumps out and goes, I'm done. Jumps over the guardrail, out the front door. A heel from the back, Big Heavy, comes out and is like, and Big Heavy and Cooter are semi-involved in a program at the time. So Big Heavy comes out and Cooter goes, points to the back, like go to the back. I was like, oh shit, that was a fucking shoot. So I text one of the wrestlers or send a message. I'm like, was that a shoot? And then like an hour later, he's like, well, it wasn't, but it is now. I was like, oh, damn. It was about 5 minutes in, straight up a shoot match.
So define shoot?
Nice.
Shoot means real. Like if you have a shoot, like it happens in Japan a lot. It did way, especially back in the day. That dude that tried to shoot on Andre one time was kicking the shit out of Andre's legs. Didn't work out too well.
So why did they shoot him?
If you want to,
he didn't sell, or he said something, or did. I'm not. I haven't talked.
Well,
I'm not really good friends with Cooter, but I don't know.
Anyone listening to this podcast wants to see what a shoot wrestling match looks like, if you'll go to YouTube, there's a match with Antonio Inoki, and the gentleman he's wrestling his name is lost on me at the moment. He's a large man, big beard. He was French Canadian.
It was.
And turns out the guy had a very sad story himself. He had been in the war.
Yeah, I've seen it.
He was like a schizophrenic or whatever. But anyway, he's no-selling the picture of professionalism in the professional wrestling business, the great Antonio Inoki.
Yeah.
He's no-selling.
Wrapped into one of Japan.
Yes. He's no-selling with Inoki, meaning when Inoki lays in a chop or a forearm or whatever, he's not acting like this is affecting him at all. And he's beating on his stomach and making Inoki look foolish. And Inoki's still trying to work the match like a professional.
It would be us no-selling Stone Cold in 1998. That's the equivalent.
Yeah, him to do the stunner and I just stand there and look at him. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then there's a spot where they go into the ropes and Inoki's bent over the top rope and the guy is laying fist into the back of Antonio Inoki's neck, and they're legit shots. And finally, he's laying in a shot, and you just see Inoki's arm come up and grab him. And then, again, the picture of professionalism, Antonio Inoki proceeds to beat this man to within an inch of his life.
Yep.
It's
great.
Blood all over the place because this guy doesn't want to do business. Keep in mind, Antonio Inoki owned he's the founder of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. He owned the promotion. He's paying you to be here.
And he's isn't he was a member of Japanese Parliament, right? Or some government figurehead?
He's done a lot of things. He actually, I do believe he's got something political going on. or did. But he now has an indie fed. New Japan was bought out by a gaming consortium.
Right.
Much to their betterment. Inoki, at some point, even with the best, most creative people, just generations change, the business changes. Inoki wanted to be as close to a shoot as you could be. And that included having cards that were part worked matches and part MMA legit matches.
Yeah, that's pretty much New Japan. Anyway,
yeah, and of course a lot of those guys were all co-founders of Pancrase, and where some of those fights were legit, and some of them had predetermined outcomes, but all the fighting itself was for real.
Yeah, that's one of the best shoot fights in wrestling that you'll see on you. You should really just go on YouTube and just search wrestling shoot fight.
That'll be the first thing that comes up. It's the most historic.
There was one Stan Hansen who made the better part of his career was in Japan, and he's a legitimate tough guy.
One of the only guys that scared me as a kid because I thought he was legitimately crazy.
Yeah. He did he not Vader's eyeball?
Yes.
Vader's eyeball out of his socket.
Vader was awesome, bad guy.
And Vader, he probably outweighed Stan Hansen by 100 pounds.
Yes.
And Stan Hansen was a big
Stan
dude.
Hansen was no small man.
No, by no means. But some guy took some liberties in a tag team match with Hansen in Japan, and Hansen chased him around the ring and in the crowd for a good 20 minutes, beating the fucking snot out of him. It was unbelievable, man. It was great. Now the Inoki one's better because it just you're like, oh Jesus Christ. And then there's one guy who did shoot fought on Andre. Regal did a shoot on Goldberg on Nitro one night. Goldberg wouldn't play.
It cost him his job.
Goldberg's job?
No, Steven Regal's job.
Regal.
That's why Regal went to WWE.
That's all he did was wrestle him.
Yeah, because Goldberg. I mean, because Goldberg wouldn't do business. He wanted to do what he wanted to do, and Regal was like, "Well, no, we need to do this." And Regal's like, "I'll show this guy," and he fucking showed him. He made Goldberg look
Goldberg forgot it to work.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was really that guy.
Yeah,
that's not the first guy that's happened to. I mean,
no, it's a good one. You need to watch that one too.
I love Bret Hart, but he's been guilty of that.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of top guys have.
But I mean, he really believes in that Canadian hero stuff, and I'm not saying he shouldn't. I understand his point of view on that, but I mean, you still got to know that at the end of the day, this is a job.
Yeah, exactly. It's a job. It's work.
But no one's going to be as big an advocate for your character as you are. I think that's why the most successful professional wrestlers historically have been guys that basically were playing big amped up versions of themselves. I mean, Steve Austin's a real redneck.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he just turned the volume up a great deal.
You got to give little and take little. You got to work together, I guess.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you have to have a rapport to some degree with the guy you're working with in order to make this whole thing believable, because if he doesn't want to make you look good or vice versa, he's not going to, and it's going to affect the entirety of the product.
And don't they always get to practice the day or two before the match, or
no,
just a couple hours or anything?
No, in fact,
so you got to be on your game. I mean, both of you got to be on your game.
Every wrestler's different. Some guys do lay out the spots of a match, and they'll, especially if you're building up to a big match. Famous example of that is Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage.
Oh, that broke my heart, man.
From WrestleMania 3.
One of the greatest matches of all time, ruined. Ruined.
Whereas Ricky Steamboat, historically, and the reason he loved working with Flair is they would come to a building and literally just find out who's supposed to go over, who's supposed to win the match, and from the booker, and then they would go out there and call every spot right there in the ring.
Dang.
Which, with me going to TAP every 2 weeks is to me, wrestling, it is what it is.
It's an art.
It is an art. How these guys can go in there and just have the feel, can call that match. It's like actors doing like impromptu things, or comedians doing just off the cuff stuff. That, to me, that's impressive. Like improv. Because Jericho went and was with the improv troupe for like a year after he left WWE the first time. That's what he did, and it was to kind of learn how to, and which he already did it because that was his line of work. But how they can go in there for 10, 20 minutes and just figure out what to do to entertain people. You know what I mean? That, to me, that seems really difficult, really hard. Just because you got to be a smart person,
sure,
to be able to do that.
And no one performer has more successfully reinvented themselves more times in this business than Chris Jericho.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
He is continually ahead of the curve. Even right now, where he's positioned in this whole,
he's kind of doing now.
He's carrying power right now.
Yeah. What he can do, he can go work for New Japan, come back to WWE, go on tour with Foz. He's got a big cruise coming up in October.
Yes.
Which was around my birthday, but I don't have enough money to do it. And there's a lot of some good metal bands going to be on that. Some good wrestling going to be on that.
First time ever.
Sounds like a car wash.
Alpha Club.
Exactly.
Either the Bucks of Jericho or Y2 Jackson, depending on however you want to discern it, versus the Bullet Club.
Man, that's... What do you, in your opinion, do you think, I think it could, that could be a 1995 pay-per-view buy? There would be hundreds of thousands of people that would pay
the Jericho cruise?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, just the wrestling part, not even the music, because Fozzie's going to be there, and there's a few other bands going to be there. Just the wrestling part, people will pay $20 to $30.
But it's so interesting that they're using the Ring of Honor versus Impact. They're building this on Chris Jericho's wrestling cruise.
Yeah,
but that's where the business has taken us.
Yep. And what's crazy about it is
and the not to interrupt, but Jericho is the reason the gentleman that bought the library of TNA/Impact is sort of like the Canadian Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
And he called Chris Jericho and said, "Why is this company hemorrhaging money?" And Chris basically told him, "Well, the people that were working here before were snakes. It's not because it lacked talent.
Yeah. No,
it certainly did not.
No, there's a lot of talent."
But he said, if you're asking me what I think you should do, you should either hire Don Callis,
which he did, right,
to right this ship, or get out of the wrestling business. Which
he did right. He did hire Don Callis, correct?
Don Callis right now is the hardest working man in wrestling.
Callis did a lot with the Omega Jericho match.
Not only is Don Callis and Scott D'Amore booking the vastly improved Impact product, but he's also doing the English commentary for New Japan.
New Japan, yeah.
So he's literally booking a month's worth of tapings in Toronto, simultaneously calling the G1 Climax, which is a month-long tournament in Japan, which is sort of like their King of the Ring, except it's much more prestigious.
Now, Tony, you remember back in about 97, 98, 99 in WWF at the time, they had the oddities. They had all the crazy looking guy, the big tall dude with the huge neck, and then the guy with the mask, kind of like Cartman. Well, the guy who was the ringleader of all that was called the Jackal.
Yes,
that's Don Callis. It was a wrestler. He wrestled in Memphis for a long time back in the.
He had the gimmick of Cyrus.
Yeah, Cyrus. Yeah, that's Don Callis, and this guy set up the match between Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Now I know you didn't watch wrestling a long time. You need to do yourself a favor and get on YouTube and watch Kenny Omega and Jericho. Dude, you watch it and you're like, is that real? No, that's not. Oh shit, that's real. Is that no? Well, maybe it's not. It's that good because the build and the build up because Jericho flew, without anybody knowing, flew to Japan and hijacked Kenny Omega's press conference, and they got in some fisticuffs and whatnot. And he's since done it again with
Tetsuya Naito.
Yeah. Jericho's in the ring in the mask, and he's got the mask on, and underneath the mask where the eyes are cut out, his eyes are painted black, so you can't tell if he's white, black, Japanese, Mexican, anything. Takes the mask off, boom, it's Jericho. You're like, what the fuck? Because you did not see it coming. Jericho's mind right now for the business is probably the best it's ever been, and he's 48, 49 years old.
Damn, he's that old?
Yes,
Yeah.
He's nearing 50.
Yeah, and it is better. And what you're saying,
he's currently the IWGP Intercontinental Champion.
he's a poor man right now. I would describe him as a poor man's Rock.
Oh.
He's got his hands in so many things: music, cruises, wrestling, entertainment. He
has a phenomenal podcast.
Yeah, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
His podcast, his first podcast ever. I listened to it the day it released. Stone Cold was his first guest. Man, it was great. It was great, and Jericho has been on his podcast, and it was great. I recommend both of those podcasts. They're really good. Even when Stone Cold is with who the fuck ever, not even a wrestler, it's still good. You know, his guy who took care of his Broken Skull Ranch in Texas, it was still good. And Jericho, and he does everybody from he said Robert Trujillo from Metallica on. He's had Colt Cabana on. Every one of them great. And Colt Cabana is suing CM Punk.
Yes,
by
he
the way.
is. That happened today.
Saw that. So tell me,
So kind of going around the world and Duff McKagan's joke of the week.
yes,
is always
Duff
fun.
McKagan's joke of the week.
So for those that don't know, the Ring of Honor Wrestling Company is owned by Sinclair Broadcasting. And Sinclair is probably best known for this thing that happened right after the Trump election where they specialize in local stations. And so they had all their news people basically saying the same spiel verbatim. And but politics aside, they own the Ring of Honor Wrestling. Now, this is good and bad. It's good in that you have another company who's in the wrestling business in North America who has more money than the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Which is a lot.
You know, I mean, they're a $5 billion company. WWE's not. So they have the money to play. A couple interesting things have happened. Personally, what I think is hurting Ring of Honor at the moment, keep in mind, the WWE raided all of their talent to start the NXT brand. So if they didn't have their very tight relationship with New Japan, if they weren't able to use the Bullet Club and develop some of that with the American members of that in this country, the talent would be a lot thinner right now. But every company goes through that. At least they've got the money. The problem I've seen with their product is because they specialize in local, that means local programmers will use Ring of Honor to fill a gap in programming. So in Nashville, Ring of Honor might come on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. In Louisville, it might come on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. There's no set time every week to watch Ring of Honor, and that's a problem. Even with Impact, Thursday nights, Pop TV, 9 Eastern to 11. You know where to find it. Their production values are horrible.
Yeah, and when you go to DVR it on Charter, you record it, and you go back to watch it, and it's a fucking infomercial.
Yeah. You're learning that you're a sovereign citizen and you don't have to pay your property taxes and all that shit.
Exactly.
Right. So those are some of the immediate problems they have. Now, this would have been rectified to a certain degree because Sinclair has been in the midst of purchasing the Tribune Company. Their flagship TV, of course, would be WGN.
Yeah. Chicago Cubs, Chicago Bulls station.
The plan was going to be that Ring of Honor was going to redevelop a new 2-hour wrestling show that was going to be on WGN, and it was going to be the flagship of WGN, which would have been huge.
Oh, yeah.
For them. I say this is all past tense because today Tribune Company pulled out of that merger and filed suit against Sinclair to the tune of $1 billion.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Now, I don't know what that's about. I haven't read that deeply into it.
Hey, dog, that's some real money right there.
This negatively impacts a few people. Number one, the All-In pay-per-view, which is a pay-per-view that's being put on by the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes. It's a pay-per-view that's being put on by the talent. The way it started was someone asked the godfather of wrestling reporting, Dave Meltzer, if someone in the modern age could sell out a 10,000-seat arena. Could Ring of Honor do it? He said no. No one had done it since the WWE days. Other than WWE. WCW was the last to sell 10,000 seats. And they took that as a challenge and said, we can sell 10,000. We think we can sell 10,000 seats. Long story short, these guys putting up the money, promoting the show themselves, they sold 10,463 seats in Chicago in under half an hour.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
Only about 200 of those tickets ended up with scalpers, meaning that these are wrestling fans that are coming in to support the boys.
Right.
This is going to be a historic event by any measure. The super cool part, I thought, and this is a bit of a throwback move, but they were going to call the first hour of the show like All In Ground Zero or whatever, and that first hour is going to be shown live on WGN. So you've got, and to give you an idea of what they're doing with that, they're doing what they're calling, because they funded it themselves, a Breaking the Bank Battle Royal. And you've got several really talented people in that Battle Royal, and the winner of that will get a shot at the Ring of Honor Heavyweight title against Jay Lethal later in the night. During the pay-per-view.
Does a great Macho Man and Ric Flair impression.
And a tremendous worker.
Phenomenal.
So, I mean, what better way to tease to buy a pay-per-view?
Yeah.
So they've actually got some live TV on this deal. This thing today between Tribune and Sinclair isn't going to be affected. It's not going to affect All In, but clearly the plan was to make WGN a primetime player.
Right. Oh, that would have, yeah.
Which would have been good for the talent in terms of guys being able to go somewhere and work and be on TV and be seen and make some money. So we're not saying it's dead, but that does hurt a little bit. But again, Sinclair is a multi-billion-dollar company, and they had also requested a date to host an event at Madison Square Garden. This is significant because in the last 100 years, no company but the WWF/E has held a wrestling event at Madison Square Garden. That is their home base. And normally, if you have that relationship with a venue, they will not put another wrestling promotion. They won't book them in that building. But the WWE has increasingly moved their operations to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. It's where SummerSlam is going to be this year. It's where it was last year. They had asked for a date. Someone from WWE called and basically got the kibosh put on Ring of Honor getting their date. But again, Sinclair has more money than the WWE. Their legal got involved, and not only did they came back, but they came back swinging. So instead of a Ring of Honor show, not only do they now have their date, but it's going to be a Ring of Honor / New Japan Pro Wrestling Supercard in Madison Square Garden. First time in 100 years that someone besides the WWF has run a card in the Mecca. And it will be 2 nights before WrestleMania.
Oh, shit. Damn.
And 60% of the house is already sold out.
Damn.
Wow.
And that won't happen until spring of 2019. They've already sold 60% of the garden. So they will sell it out.
They'll sell out.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Particularly if they end up with like a CM Punk versus Kenny Omega.
Oh, fuck. Dude, I would almost pay whatever to go there, even though I don't have
Or a
whatever.
Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Because Daniel Bryan's contract with the WWE is up September 1, and he is not resigned as of yet.
And September 1's getting pretty damn close.
Yes.
So, in your mind, all encompassing all promotions, who's your favorite / who you think the best worker is right now?
It is a tie. The best wrestlers.
We accept ties on this show.
The best wrestlers in the world, 1 and 1A right now, are the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega and the WWE Champion AJ Styles.
I like AJ. I like Omega. I think Jericho is doing some of his style's changed quite a bit. It hasn't. He doesn't do quite as many high spots, but he still will do the line salt.
Nor does AJ.
Yeah, and Jericho will get a little more hardcore now, it seems, now that maybe he's got a taste of that shoot style from New Japan. Well, maybe not a shoot style, but it's more of a shoot style than
just
WWE.
lends a realism to the character he's currently portraying.
Now, as far as WWE goes, I love watching Finn wrestle. Finn's entrance when he comes in as a demon, to me right now, that entrance is unprecedented to anybody's right now.
There's another case of another, original leader of the Bullet Club. Another guy that has been brought in. He's clearly over.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to do with him.
No, because I think a lot of it's because Vince likes the big guys and Finn's not a big guy. Tony, Finn Balor, dude can work. He's a great. In his entrance when he comes, he's what was he, 5'10", 5'11"?
On a good day.
170 pounds, 180 pounds, ripped to shreds, but just not a big guy. So when he comes in, he paints his face up like this black, red, and white, and the paint streams all the way down to his chest. And some nights he'll have like Japanese, what's the writing called, kanji or whatever. He'll have it written a little small all over his body, and when he comes in, he kind of crawls and is really, you see, you're like, what the fuck is this? But when his music hits in the certain point of the song, it goes wah, and he raises his hands up. The house lights come on. The entire crowd is doing what he's doing. It's one of the most over entrances I've seen, and I can't remember when. It's unbelievable. He's a great performer. That he backs it up with what he does. Him and Seth Rollins, I can watch them two wrestle all day long. Him and AJ all day long. Shinsuke, I don't like him as a heel, but it does good. Shinsuke's a Japanese wrestler, and he's not a big guy. He's kind of slender. He CrossFits, does he not?
Probably.
It's Shinsuke. He does what the fuck he wants to do.
He's literally held every title in Japan.
He's a different cat, and man, he works really stiff. He is a really stiff worker. You remember how Rob Van Dam used to kick people in the back, and you could hear it. That's the way Shinsuke does every move. You can hear. He works pretty tight.
But watching this now, is there still a lot of the drama talk, the 45 minutes of talk and 5 minutes wrestling?
I don't feel like it's as much like in the heyday of WCW, how Nash, who's my favorite wrestler of all time, he would come out and cut a 10-minute promo, 15-minute promo. It's not that long anymore. Now, they do still talk, but to me, it's not as long.
Last time I seen
it's maybe me being older.
They were... One dude goes in somebody's office and tears his room up and all that bull, and I'm like, man, this is more drama like a soap opera than it was.
Well, I guess the main thing I wanted to get over tonight is that the good news is there's phenomenal wrestling out there. Yeah. You have to look for it.
It's not just WWE anymore. It's
most of it's not. You're not going to find it on Monday nights.
Monday nights are just easier to find.
Yes, they're easier. They're the easiest to find. But even though you've got to let your fingers do a little walking on the internet, it's the internet, and it's simpler now to see anything from around the world at the push of a button. You can literally see the best performers in the world.
What I like about it is you can, you take, because we're so as wrestling, we're programmed to watch WWE now, and it's for kids because of the characters. You just take that out of your mind and watch a New Japan match between anybody. It doesn't matter. Or a Ring of Honor. It really doesn't matter. Watch it, and you're like, if you like the sport of wrestling, of professional wrestling, you're going to like what they're doing because because it will bring you back to WCW on Saturday night, or it'll bring you back to Asbury Community Center on a Friday night, in 1993 at 7:00. To me, it's more of that style that we grew up on than it is now. And I don't have any, WWE's a little boring sometimes. I still like it and I still watch it, but as far as what I'm used to, what I saw when I was a kid, that's what I see. As far as the in-ring production. Now, there's guys in WWE that are phenomenal. That do AJ Styles.
I lost it when it went NWO and then NCW.
Well, now you got the Bullet Club, and the Bullet Club is multi-promotional. Sometimes they can't say they're in the Bullet Club, but and they use the too sweet like NWO did because they're NWO. I don't say they're NWO 2.0, but it's a different brethren of that faction, in my opinion.
Well, those guys were just old school wrestling fans and wanted to, bring back something that was cool when they were coming up, and it's worked. The phenomenal part about that story is
AJ Styles.
Nick and Matt Jackson have these shirts in Hot Topic.
Yeah.
That was 100% them. These guys are making so much money in merchandising that they don't have to have a WWE contract if they don't want it.
Yeah. And now,
they control their own destiny. So there's really cool stuff out there and really cool performers out there.
I wonder what the numbers are at the Bullet Club shirt versus the NWO. And the NWO shirts were hot. I've had 2 or 3 of myself. But Bullet Club, you see them sumbitching shirts everywhere, like in different variations.
I don't think a shirt revolving around wrestling has been as maybe mainstream popular since the NWO shirt.
I agree.
Back when you were a freshman in college and your girlfriend would watch Nitro with you, kind of thing. She didn't know who the fuck's who, but that's how big it was. If you weren't there, I'm here to tell you. The college campuses were having Nitro parties. Mm-hmm. Wrestling was huge. These guys were pulling 7 shares on Monday night television. Hasn't been done before or since.
Walk through it. You're fine. Just walk through it.
So.
Hey, there went Tony.
Bye.
See you, buddy. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it. See you, bud. Nice to meet you.
Take care. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting drama in the wrestling world right now. Hopefully, all it's going to work out in the benefit of the fans.
I just want to,
and there's no shortage, even at the WWE level. It's not because they're short of talent.
No, definitely not.
They have a tremendous amount of talent. They've really got more talent than they know what to do with. The only thing that worries me is
that could be the problem.
Because there's such a premium now on live content, and the fact that that the WWE is going to pull in X amount of persons and in this advertising demographic, they just signed $3.2 billion worth of new TV deals.
Yeah.
SmackDown's going to Fox.
Yeah, that's
who's
huge.
being bought by Disney.
Huge.
So who knows how that's going to turn out?
Yeah. Now
Who's to say Disney doesn't make a play just to buy WWE and bring it in-house?
And now, I mean, all the WWE, lady wrestlers are going to be Disney princesses.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I didn't think about that until you just said that.
That would be awesome.
Holy shit.
Every other thing that they've tried in terms of that, like WWE films, it's been a colossal failure. Yeah. Because they have too many limitations.
Yeah, they do. And because they're
you were saying earlier that your lady love there is an aficionado of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
As someone who grown up with all that stuff, it's kind of the same thing about wrestling. You'll always find somebody that says, well, I liked Saturday Night Live when it was good, not when the current, whoever. It's always the group that was before them or the group when they were in high school or whatever.
History's always better.
And the fact of the matter is this, is that going back from Belushi to Farley to Keenan Thompson, some sketches are brilliant, some suck.
Yeah.
Some are
Belushi them were there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a weird
thing. Every group had sketches you'll always remember.
Yeah.
Every group had sketches you'll never remember, and every group had sketches you wish you'd never seen.
Yeah.
Everyone's like that. We have this revisionist history that the hot group during our youth or whatever. Same thing kind of happens in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Attitude Era wasn't all that great if you go back and look at it.
It was different.
Yeah, you had the Rock and Austin breakout, and that's cool.
It was good.
You also had people giving birth to hens.
Yeah, or having Mae Young's.
Yeah, you had
Mark Henry.
112-year-old women being powered bombed through tables.
It was scary.
There was a necrophilia angle in Nashville with Glenn Jacobs.
With the
mayor
of Knox County.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of trash.
There was a lot of trash. And I think a lot of it was different. It was a shake-up from the normal characters they had that were real-life characters. Not real, like everyday job characters. The repo man, the garbage man, the goon. Stuff like that. It was different. It was who they were. It was, Triple H. That was Triple H. That's Triple H turned up to 11. Stone Cold was Stone Cold turned up to 11. The Rock was The Rock turned up to 11.
I'm not.
I'm sorry.
Even though I'm from Tennessee, I'm not what you would call a country person. And be that as it may, I know a lot of country people, a lot of farming people. I've never seen anyone carry around a slop bucket. Just from place to place. But on WWE television growing up, every Southern wrestler carried one everywhere they went. That was a caricature of the South.
Or a moonshine container.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's cartoonish.
Like Briscoe Darling, used to blow in
garbage.
Show.
Yeah, and they're kind of doing that again as far as the characters, and they want to... Maybe that show's for 5-year-olds.
Do you think it's because they're a publicly traded company now that they're having to?
Part of it. They're professional Republicans.
Yeah.
I mean, she oversees Small Business Administration. That's just the fact of it.
Yeah. Just give me a good in-ring product. I feel like that's lacked.
And if you don't feel that they
too many years.
There are places you can go get it. That's my main thing. There's good stuff out there if that's what you want.
I started watching, I started watching Impact. And I was like, fuck. And partly because, me and Storm are buddies, but, but hell, even Impact got so bad, I'd watch his match and then I would delete the recording,
But how great is it that right now, the Rey Mysterio's got a little bit of heat with the WWE because he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably going in the Hall.
He needs to.
Because he's the downloadable character on the video game.
Yeah.
So he's clearly coming back. But they want him to start immediately, and he's like, I can't start till after September 1st because I'm committed to All In.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want you to break that commitment. And
usually Vince is pretty good about letting, telling them, hey, don't break commitments.
Not when it comes to being competitive.
Right.
Vince McMahon doesn't like the fact that this show's drawing more than his shows.
Yeah, I'd say not.
As far as the gate.
You know, speaking of Impact, do you know Storm wore my shirt on Impact?
Really?
Yes, sir. He did a backstage vignette, and he had my shirt on.
Nice.
Yes, sir. And he's worn my shirt on Instagram several times. Posed in it.
Well, maybe post All In and how this all is going to play out in terms of the who's going to end up on WGN and stuff. We can do a postscript and see where everything's at going into the Ring of Honor show in New York and the Wrestle Kingdom in Tokyo. You know, those storylines are going to start getting cooked up soon. So,
yeah, we definitely need to do it.
You know, if you guys think you could stay awake through it, maybe we can
I could
do a part 2. And
she'd be in the bed watching Shameless or something.
Well, we'll turn on some Oscar matches.
Yeah,
Shameless.
Yeah,
it's very rare that a premium channel show goes 9 seasons like that.
Yeah.
Good show.
I'm not a huge fan, but I've seen the show.
Good show.
I'm just invested at this point, so I can't stop.
They've really stepped up their Showtime's really stepped up their documentaries.
Oh.
And 2 weeks from now, they have one on Leonard Skinner.
Oh shit! Really?
And it looks phenomenal.
Oh damn! I'd love to see that. That'd be great right there. Get Showtime for a month and then cancel it.
Yeah.
All right. We hit the wrestling. We didn't hit enough wrestling. It's just we're 2 hours and
40 minutes.
Yeah,
40 minutes in. It's probably the longest show
we've done a
ever.
Joe Rogan-esque.
We have. Well, and the thing is, we and Josh have not really. We've talked on Facebook and Twitter, but we haven't seen each other face to face in like 20 years. So, and we live like 6 fucking miles from each other. Well, he has been off doing things, and I've been here, so that's a little different.
On the road a lot, but
we do. I do have one question that I ask all the guests that come on the show. If you had a choice to be one of these 2 characters, a Patrick Swayze character, who would you rather be? And there is a wrong answer. Johnny Castle from Dirty Dancing or Dalton from Roadhouse?
Oh, Dalton.
That's my boy.
Can I elaborate a little?
And
then we'll get out of here.
Fucking wear it out because I want Johnny Lowry to hear this shit.
This is the greatest B film of all time. The notion that there's this underground network of bar bouncers. And there's legends. You know, Wade Garrett has his Legends contract. He has an action figure.
Yeah.
I thought Sam Elliott was 65 years old for a very long time because as a youth, one of the first things I ever remember seeing him in was as Wade Garrett. The premise of the film is so absurd, and they play it so straight-laced. It's the greatest B film of all time. A character actually says, "Prepare to die." You can't beat that.
Your mother's a whore, was she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Terry
Mama-
Funk jobs to 5'7" Patrick Swayze.
That's right. He also jobs a 5'5" Sylvester Stallone over the top.
Well, yes, but his character in Roadhouse was better. But the idea that you would travel in stealth to New York to proposition a man to be a goddamn bouncer at a bar. That's every wrestler that before they ever got a contract.
No shit.
Yeah.
You know, Rick Rude should have been in that movie.
Holy shit, that would have been great.
Because he
Jake
was
the Snake had
he
the
was
hair
known as a one-punch knockout artist as a bouncer.
Yeah. Jake would have been good with the hair. He had perfect bouncer hair.
And the movie got over.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I watch it all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it has that what I call the Footloose quality.
Yes.
Where no matter I got somewhere to be, but I'll sit down and 2 hours later it's like, oh shit, I've watched this whole goddamn movie. for the 5,000th time.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I have a buddy of mine that works for us in McMinnville, and he loves Tombstone. He champions that movie. To me, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of my 12-year-old daughter's favorite movies of all time. He went into last year. Him and his wife and baby, and I think it was his parents, went to Florida on vacation. So they're getting ready to go eat at, Pineapple Willies or what the fuck ever on the beach. And he gets out of the shower, and lo and behold, Tombstone's on. It's about 20 minutes in. And they're like, all right, Dylan, Dylan Keith's his name.
Well, that's about a 2-hour and 40-minute movie.
It's a damn good movie. And they said, all right, we're ready to go eat. And he's like, okay. He said, well, you know what I like? They're like, what? He's like, yeah, Tombstone's on. Y'all just bring me something back when y'all come back. I'll be right here. They're like, Dylan, you've watched Tombstone 837 times. He's like, yeah, 838 right here. Y'all know what I like. Bring it to me when you get back. Wow. So he passed up going out to eat to watch
on vacation.
On vacation to watch Tombstone.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
And I've heard the story so many times it can't be a lie because it's the same every time. And this guy just would not lie. I mean, well, yeah, he would.
You know this. Obviously, she just met me and doesn't, but I'm a severe cinephile.
Yes.
And
he rivals Bradley.
Wow.
I surpass him. He hasn't seen. I've seen things in languages spoke by only 6 people. Yeah, like it's unhealthy. I'm a big film snob. But having said that, again, it just shows why it's so great because I have very discerning taste when it comes to film. But yet I can appreciate the greatness that is Roadhouse. It is the greatest B movie of all time. It's not even close.
I've had
because they are committed to this story.
Fuck yeah,
so absurd.
You got a bouncer that carries around his medical records.
Yes, and you have the great Ben Gazzara, who I've got probably 5 films at home, classics that he was in. From The Killing of a Chinese Bookie from John Cassavetes to Otto Preminger's Anatomy of a Murder with James Stewart. He was in world-class films. And they bring him in to be like this super heel David Pennington type fucking character.
Wesley.
Brad Wesley.
I can't remember his first name, yeah.
They go back to the old great Kung Fu theater type of roots with the throat pull move.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. So rip that some bitch out.
Shit that would never work in real life.
But
in this world,
I've asked this
it
question.
All works. It's great.
A bunch of times. I was going to say hundreds, but I've only done 65 episodes. And 5 times, the answer has been Johnny Castle. One of them because the guy's never seen Roadhouse. And he was only 20 at the time. He still got some growing to do. Gregory Cordell McDaniel. Johnny Lowry answered Johnny Castle.
Probably because of the name. Oh.
Well.
No, he's given ample examples.
He loves the guy. Tooth answered Johnny Castle. Stephanie answered Johnny Castle.
Yeah, but he and Johnny Lowry, that's a healthy relationship.
Yeah,
that's what I've been told.
So it's 4 times Johnny Castle. And they're all by girls.
Well, I mean, you're entitled to your... But
Bradley had one of the better answers. It wasn't a choice, but he said Patrick Swayze from Point Break, which was a phenomenal movie. But I've been especially into Johnny Utah
People
myself.
forget,
Utah.
I talk about this a lot. Again, being a fan of a lot of obscure films, independent films, things that don't get that aren't box office draws, and of course, now we're seeing everybody wants equal pay on films, and at the end of the day, somebody's still got to put the asses in the seats.
That's right.
Say what you want to about Tom Cruise. He's not a very good actor. But, man, he's drawn money for 30 years.
Yep.
This Mission Impossible is breaking all the Mission Impossible records.
It won't fucking stop.
And he's got a Top Gun sequel coming out.
Oh, I cannot fucking wait.
And it can't be anywhere near as homoerotic as the original.
No.
But that's part of its charm. You know?
Can anything be homoerotic as Top Gun?
No, I don't think so. I'm just glad they got Val Kilmer back.
Thank God.
I'll see it now.
My daughter is ecstatic that he is in it. She loves Val Kilmer.
Underrated guy. But yeah, he doesn't look anything like Barry Seal, but the American Made told largely the story of Barry Seal, which is a wild, true story that happened in this country. And Tom Cruise is probably the only guy that can get that movie made. So I can live with that. And it was a good movie.
Him or The Rock now.
And but he doesn't make very good films.
No.
Now Dave Bautista chooses his films phenomenally.
What's the one? I got it on my watch list on HBO. Him and Jason Statham.
Batista?
Yeah.
And Statham?
Yeah, it's like a cop drama.
See, I don't really watch action movies.
Yeah, it's a.
Except John Wick. I love those.
John Wick is badass.
Because they're old John Woo type gung fu, Yeah,
John Wick's bad. I watched it.
That's kind of like art house action.
I'm like, I'm going to watch it. It's Keanu. I love Keanu Reeves. I'm like, I'm going to watch it.
I was amazed at how much I enjoyed that movie.
I watched it when's part 2 coming out? Right at the end of it, and I've yet to see part 2 yet. So.
Oh, you haven't?
Not yet. I'm busy, man.
They're filming part 3 right now.
I got autograph sessions every other day.
I understand. And there is
Tell Artemis.
Nope.
No?
Television series in development based around the Assassin's Hotel.
Yeah.
So Starz is going to have a show. So the John Wick universe will continue on.
Oh, shit, yeah.
But I appreciate you having me.
Man, dude, this has been the show almost 2 years now. It's been 2 years in the making because on my initial notes when I first came up with the idea to do the show, you were at the top of the list of the guests. And I knew it would run long, and you'll have to come back on soon. We'll definitely have to do after Ring of Honor, after All In. We'll definitely have to do that. And maybe a post SummerSlam. By the way, what are we coming back from Autumn's wedding on the 19th?
What day is that?
That's a Sunday.
Yes.
Okay, we got to get back in time for SummerSlam.
What time does that start?
6 or 7.
Okay.
These days they go about 5 hours,
7.5 hour drive.
I'll have to go really fast.
And, yep.
Oh, where's she at? She not coming?
Oh, yeah, my bad. No, it's Autumn.
Well, she's a loser. Did you flake out again, Autumn?
She got drunk.
So did we.
Well, you're all the way in Manchester. It's so far away. I drive to home every fucking day.
Let me have a rant here before we close this out.
Oh, please.
We live in a small town of Manchester, Tennessee. For all you people in China and Russia, we have people in Russia that listen to us.
Excellent.
Bahrain, France, Germany, Norway, Canada, L.A., New York. Mexico. Agua Antilles.
Agua Cat.
Los Angeles, September 15th. I'll be back.
L.A. Yeah. So we live in a small town, Manchester, Tennessee. Population, 11,000?
Roughly.
Yeah.
11. We got 7 red lights.
They have numbers on them, yeah.
Roundabout. Give or take
They're
a
in
few.
service 24 hours a day, and I've never really understood that.
Yeah, me neither. So there you go. In service 24 hours a day, and we have no idea why. So when people come to my store looking for something that we don't have, and I have to order it, and they need it right then, I'll tell them to go to this hardware store. And this hardware store is about 3.5 miles away. So you're looking 7-8 minutes with red lights.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. 3
minutes as the crow flies. But their excuse to me is, well, I don't want to drive all the way across town.
Yeah.
From my place of business to Eaton's Hardware it literally will take you 7-8 minutes tops.
That's
10
with stops.
10 if you catch every red light and you're doing 30. But yet these son of a bitches don't want to drive all the way across town.
It is that prevailing thought process, which is why, and listen, folks, I've put my money where my mouth is on this, and I'm talking from experience as someone who's worked in tourism and has promoted entertainment here, music festivals. I've worked in media for a long time. It's that thought process is the reason you don't have theaters or bowling alleys or skating rinks or anything that you want. You want it handed to you. And I'll give you this thought, and I can say this now because my brother did not run for re-election, and he's finishing his final month on the Coffee County Commission. If things don't change, Bonnaroo will be gone in 5 years.
I think it will be gone quicker than that.
Could be.
Yeah.
And I will be a mad son
They
of a
don't
bitch.
owe you anything.
And
they
I will.
own the land. They should not be shaken down. I'm not trying to get political, but this is serious because it's a quarter of Coffee County. That's 50,000 residents, ladies and gentlemen. A quarter of your sales tax is generated in 4 days for the year. 1 quarter. The Coffee County government has commingled that money with their general fund obligations, which means if that money goes missing, if it stops coming in,
we're fucked. More
Even
so
more
than we are
so.
now.
Yeah.
If that happens,
with no kiss,
I will go to the mayor's office and I will shit in the hallway.
and I can just tell you from seeing it with my own eyes, these people.
Oh, I was going to say, he's seen me shit in the hallway.
No, I didn't see that. But these
that was your brother
these
Joe.
people think that we are. There are people here that think that we are blessing the Live Nation, the largest concert promotion company in the world, with allowing them to grace us with their presence.
Yeah, no.
That's not how it works.
Mm-mm. Oh, quit being bitches.
So
be fucking grateful.
Just when you bitch about the noise and the first of all, you're lying.
Yeah.
You don't know the damn things here.
Get off my grass.
We had a mayor that was saying that it hurt local business. So rather than say you're wrong or you're full of shit or whatever, I said, hey, I'll do an indie music festival and we'll draw. And we'll do it in local businesses to show that people will come out if you put the work into creating content. And it was free.
Yeah, totally free.
And the original plan that first year was to book 5 bands. I booked 88 bands.
Damn.
All because someone who's been entrusted by people to lead went with the lazy, and that person's long gone, so no blowback on this, but just went with the lazy idea of, well, the big dog out here that's providing a quarter of your fucking tax revenue it really hurts local businesses. Yeah. Bullshit.
Yes, that is bullshit.
The only thing that hurt was my podcast at 41 South Bar and Grill.
Small price to pay.
We'll be reopened soon.
Yeah, very small price to pay.
Yeah, I was fine. I still got drunk. I was cool.
You know, so if you get awoken, if you're wondering why there's no
delete
entertainment, you know,
that's because you're a bitch.
It takes places don't necessarily just look at your location; they look at how educated your workforce is. You know.
Fuck.
So when you say things like, I can't go across town to get a car part.
Yeah. To get a bolt.
You're silly.
To get a
So don't be surprised if you act like a child. Don't be mad when everybody treats you like children.
Yes, because I don't want to drive 3 miles across town to get a bolt that nobody in town carries but one specific place. That's the wrong thread pitch any fucking way, but you don't listen. But that's neither here nor there. I'll get off my
But yeah,
soapbox.
People get silly.
I hate them. Well, Josh, man,
I enjoyed it.
3 hours.
3 hours, son. I knew it was going to happen.
We did all right.
Well,
Really.
I think we did good. We're not even done yet. That's the bad part.
No, we just kind of are catching up a little bit.
Yeah,
There's so much to. That's the bad thing when you have to wait so long. Our schedules. There's so much to talk about.
It's
that and 20 years, but
yeah 20 years.
You know,
that'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
But we'll do it again.
We damn sure
you'll
will.
have me.
A little too sweet there. Josh Moore, thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Lady A, thanks for womaning the controls
Well,
and
thank
through
you.
with all that wrestling talk.
Yeah.
You did good, though.
Pinterest
Wonderful.
was exciting for a couple
Was it?
minutes.
Was it?
I couldn't resist.
Well, you like, we talk a little Asuka and Charlotte
Look,
Flair.
I had to start it off with girl talk, girl wrestling, just so I could.
That's what happens when you have
Stay
a guest that gets everyone in the room and in the same conversation.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what happens.
I'm not saying I'm the
I
best
learned
guest
some
that's ever
stuff.
been on the show. I'm just saying
Yeah.
everybody got involved.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I learned some stuff.
All inclusive. Right, and
We were, dare I say, all in.
That's right. Oh, well played, sir. Well played. Our apologies to Steve Jernigan. Couldn't get to you tonight. Sorry, buddy.
Steve.
Maybe next time that you're not a political candidate anymore, you can grace us with your presence on time.
Let Steve Jernigan become the Lindsey Buckingham of this show. He gets bumped every week.
He is.
He already is.
He's the Matt Damon.
He's the Matt Damon. He is. That's Steve. Because he shows up late every damn time.
And it's
Like,
guy.
like this night, I mean,
Even
tonight.
if you know he's not going to be here, say, sorry, we couldn't get Steve Jernigan. Had to bump him.
Every time. Well, tonight he's not even
Go
here.
with it. He's a good guy.
Like 8,000 times, actually 60-something, he's walked through the door while we're signing off. And tonight he didn't even fucking show up.
Wow.
Why, we still love him.
Yeah, he'll be here next time.
You didn't show up. Do we have heat, Steve? What's up?
No, it's just generated heat. We're good.
No, it's a good dude.
All right, appreciate it, guys. I'll holla.